YouTube. Hey guys, welcome to another live stream. Glad that you guys are taking some time to hang out on a Friday evening where I answer your lawn care questions. That's all about just hanging out and hearing what your questions are about fertilization, mowing, mower types, any plans you have for your lawn. Let's talk about it. I have a special treat tonight. It's going to be kind of fun because this, if you guys remember, last week I mentioned us having a guest on, and if you guys remember from the live stream, there's always a guy in the chat that always has can answer the obscure questions. SMK, right? So anytime I have a question, if someone raises a question about herbicides or a fertilizer or some kind of special combination that works well, he always comes through as far as, hey, this is what you can do in this combination to get a good result. So he so graciously agreed to come on the live stream tonight. So I'm going to bring him in here in a second. And you guys will benefit from not only having to hear me talk, you'll also get to meet him. So his name is Steve. And let's see if technology will cooperate with us tonight. Here we go. Let's see. Hey, Steve, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Guys, so Steve has graciously agreed to come on and answer any questions. So any questions you guys have, feel free to throw them both of our way. We'll go back and forth. Sometimes I'll weigh in, he'll weigh in. But Steve, tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, so I'm a laboratory research scientist. My career mostly has revolved around the field of agropharmaceuticals, agrochemicals.
Okay.
I basically have for about 20 years worked in various areas of the way chemicals affect, environment, plant life, animal life, etc.
Okay.
And I basically work to optimize them and minimize their overall impact on environment. So that's what I've been doing for about 20 years. But I'm actually mostly trained in, at least at the PhD level, in agropharmaceutical and biomedical stuff.
Very cool. And he's also a lawn care nut, guys. So, I mean, I should have brought this up before I brought Steve in. I'll just block my face here. You guys can check out his lawn. Take a look at that. So, Steve, that looks like Bermuda, right? That's a type of Bermuda?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that looks...
That is Bermuda. Yeah, it's I don't know exactly what cultivar it is, but
right.
It's Bermuda. But
yeah,
it's
very nice.
It's pretty fine leaf.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So the thing about why one of the reasons why I asked him to come on, because after going back and forth with him in email, one of the things that he researches is, we always talk about, what fertilizer to apply, what herbicide to apply. And the thing is, sometimes there can be some consequences aside from that too. So one of the things that he researches is like application rates. Like if you go too heavy with a product, what can the results be? A lot of times we just think about it potentially damaging the grass, but there's also other side effects depending on when a product is applied and how much of it is applied. As far as some other housekeeping I want to tell you guys about. So hopefully some of you guys got to see the video that I released this morning where I got to go down to RealWorks. You guys see I'm wearing the shirt. Yep, there we go. The shirt RealWorks from the guys in Beaufort, Georgia. So they were gracious enough. They reached out to me and offered to have me come out, check out their facility. They are the dealer for Swardsman, right? So you guys always hear me talking about, or rather, you guys always get on my case about saying, hey, you got to try out a Swardsman. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's it's the perfect mower. And they're the dealers for it. So Lee, Andrew, and Eric were kind enough to have me down. They gave me a tour of the facility. They have like this turf park, which is insane. They have like two different types of Zoysia and then a Bermuda. And they have all kinds of mowers. They've got True Cuts. They've got California Trimmers. They got McLanes. They have obviously Swardsman. And they make rollers for them. But it was cool. They have like all of them there where you can try them out and decide which one is best for you. So it was really cool that they allowed me to come out and film. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. So let's see what we got. Who's in the chat tonight? Let's see. Of course, the usual suspects. We got Super TA. Hopefully you got your hat. Thank you, sir. I'm glad that came through. Monique Jones, Jeremy White, LG. He's always, he's steady, man. He's always there. You can always count on LG. SMK's not in chat tonight. I don't know why that's not a thing.
I'm on the show.
He's on the show. That's why. And let's see. Let's see what he. Okay, so Kevin D. Jones has, I guess, the first comment tonight that we'll put up here where he says, "Hey, Ron, thanks for going to Real Rollers. Was about to buy a Swardsman last week. Are you really impressed? I'm in Georgia, so I might have to drive to Beaufort." So yes, I will tell you that I am definitely impressed with the Swardsman. So uh, it's the first time using that mower, and if I had to compare it, like if I were gonna, we're talking about mowers on different tiers, right? So we take like away from your manual push mowers and then into your California trimmers, McLanes. The Swardsman is, and the True Cut. The Swardsman, I would put it as far as quality of cut above the True Cut guys. So the big reason why is because the thing that makes most green mowers do a really good job of striping, right? So you take like your John Deere's, your because I mean, as far as Steve, as far as mowers go, you're running a John Deere, right?
Yeah, John Deere 180 SL.
Yeah, so like a John Deere or like the Greensmaster, like what I have, is that they have a rear drum that is a propulsion system. So what that does is it allows you to really get really nice stripes, and it also makes like ruts or hot spots in the lawn a lot less obvious. So the thing about the Swordman that's nice is that for someone that's going to be super hardcore on their lawn, so I'm talking about someone that's going to mow their lawn, 3 times a week in summer months when you're really trying to keep the lawn looking nice, it is going to do a better job than like the True Cut will, because one of the things you guys noticed with mine, and some of you guys even pointed out in some of the videos from earlier this year before I got the Greensmaster, is that the True Cut, because the way the weight is, it's on 2 heavy wheels, it will create ruts in the lawn, and the Swordsman doesn't do that. So it cuts really, really nice. You got all the attachments. And I was impressed with it, man. You guys saw me do the video, run it yesterday. If for those of you that did not see that video, actually, I think I've got a link here. I'll put it here in the chat. I mean, don't go now, stay on the live stream. But later on, if you guys want a reference, you can go check it out and see all about them. So yes, Kevin, that's a long roundabout answer to say I am very impressed with both the mower and, more importantly, the team that's behind it. So the thing with the thing I'll tell you guys is no matter which mower you go with, you want to be able to get good support. You want to make sure that you can get it serviced and that the whoever you're buying it from is going to stand behind it. And I have, those guys at Real Rollers, definitely, you can tell they love mowing. They love everything about grass. And if you buy a product from them, if there's ever any issues, they're going to take care of you. So that's a great reason to go with them. Awesome. Awesome. So Steve, so when it comes to herbicides, right? Or one of the common questions that I get is around like how to keep grub worms and those kinds of things out of the lawn. And a lot of times what I'll spray for that, or the product I'll use, is like Caravan G or Acceleprin. But I mean, for you, if you're talking about how to get the best way to get rid of grub worms, like what's your thoughts on the matter given your research and knowing what some of the effects can be?
So the main issue with grub worms
Hmm.
is you got to get them early.
Okay.
So the main problem with the grub worms, right, is that once they are laid, the eggs are laid into the lawn, and then they obviously will attack well manicured lawns and lawns that have plenty of nutrition and water and are
Hmm.
pretty moist. So once they are in a very early stage, that's the best time of to get them.
Okay.
So um, you have to be aware of their life cycle. So you have to, I mean, the biggest in the south is probably the Japanese beetles,
Okay.
maybe black beetles, um, grub larvae, and then you would have to get them like pretty early in the season. So one of the best compounds to use is other than acelepryn is really good, but
Right.
a cheaper compound to use is like imidacloprid.
Okay.
And what'll happen with that, imidacloprid is a nicotinoid, so they basically will feed on the roots, and they'll get full very fast,
Okay.
and then they'll pretty much not feel like eating anymore, and then they'll die of starvation. But it only works very early
In the
in their life
season.
cycle.
I
Yeah.
got you. So is that something you have to buy separately, or is it something you can find in a product, or?
No, you can find it. You can find it on as part of a homeowner product,
Okay.
but you can also get it as a combination.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so I think there's a compound called Tempered FX, or Tempered is pretty, has got that compound in there.
Okay.
But if you were to do your perimeter spraying, for
Hmm.
example, to prevent the moths if you can get the adult moths, then the chance of them actually depositing their eggs in the turf
It's a lot lower.
reduces. Yeah. So
I got you.
you look out for the moths. Now, when it gets later, like once they get big and fat,
Right.
you start diving deeper. Like
Right.
especially now, it's too late now. You can't get them now because they've gone deep into the ground for winter.
Okay.
Uh, but you would use something like tricloflon or Dialox.
Okay.
That would get them, would kill them in a 24-hour period if they're big and juicy. But you want to get them before they wake up and start feeding again in the spring.
I
So
got
they
you.
feed really aggressively twice a year. They feed
Okay.
aggressively. They feed aggressively in the fall, and then they feed again aggressively in the
That's
spring.
right. But so as far as like the recommendation, as far as like Acceloprint is a good product. That's a great option for
Yeah,
getting for getting rid of them. Okay.
yeah. But with grub worms, getting them early is always the
Is
best.
the big thing. Yeah, because I mean, here's the thing. I had a small issue with them. Let me see, we're in season 5. I think it was in season 2. Year 2 is when I started noticing an issue with grub worms, and that's when I went like whole hog. I put down this product called Milky Spore, which is like it's like a something from Gabriel Organics, and it supposedly you have to do it when when soil temperatures are warmer. And then I also put down Caravan G, and I've never had a problem since then. But yeah, it's just your point about getting them early, I would say lawn
Like
fungus.
you get them early, like what's called the first instar. So
Okay,
when they're really, really, really young.
okay,
So a good time to apply a preventative is around June, July
okay.
in this region. I'm not too sure what regions in the north you apply, but you have to get them early in their life cycle.
I see.
Another issue with a lot of these grubworm products, they have a lot of products that they talk about, oh, this kills grubworms, that kills grubworms. They always have that on the label,
Hmm.
but there are not many products that actually get them. So a
I
good
see.
example is triazicide, for example.
Hmm.
It claims to kill grubworms, but there are plenty of research studies that have shown that triazicide is not an effective grubworm killer.
I see. So
Yeah,
so stick with
because they
stick with
yeah, go ahead.
Acceloprint and then and get them early in the season. June, July. You said is it?
Imidacloprid is a very good product. It's like I use imidacloprid on a regular basis. Very good product. Just don't spray it around pollinators. So don't spray it in March. Don't
Okay,
spray it in April.
because you'll
Anytime you see
kill
bees
the
on the
bees.
flowers, yeah, yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to spray imidacloprid on around the time that the pollinators are doing their thing.
Okay,
Uh, but once they stop doing their thing,
go to
um,
town.
yeah, around June, July, you can put it down, and then do your perimeter spraying around the house for the adults with either Bifan or Talstar, any one of those products.
Nice, nice. All right, so let's see who else we got in the live stream. Thank you, sir. That was an awesome question. So we got Chris Balducci, one of the best names in the live stream, around the house of Pat. I'm glad you like the shirt, Pat. I like it. It's really cool shirt. I will show you guys the back. But it's hard to. I can't turn around and do it. But it's actually the back is really cool. It's like Make America Real Again, like real REL. It's really, like I said, it's really cool shirt. Those really cool set of guys. Let's see who else we got here. Wincherids in the house. Real Rollers a dealer for Allett. Yeah, guys. So in the live stream, check it out. They have Allett there too. They had the Allett. They had the Electra. The one thing you guys didn't see is I actually shot that. I mean, to be completely honest, I actually shot that video twice. So I went there the day before, and I didn't like how the audio came out, so I went back again yesterday to shoot the entire thing all over again. And the day before, I'll have to get some of that footage, maybe put together like a B-roll. But they ran the Electra, and it's sweet, man. I mean, it's like really quiet. He answered the questions about it as far as like coverage, so I think it's a really that's also a good option too. I didn't get to actually film it mowing with it yesterday, but it's if you have a smaller lawn or you just don't want to you want to be more environmentally conscious, you don't have to deal with gas. It's a great option. Great option. Let's see who else we got in the house there. Princess Cut Lawn Care. George, what's going on, man? Marvin Love. I really like the Swardsman. I did. I think it's a great product. I think the thing with them, with the Swardsman, I have to say, is the fact that you can that it's around the same price as a True Cut, right? You get the groove roller with it, and you get those attachments. So for a medium-sized lawn, even like a lawn my size, the ability to do verticutting, to do scarification, which I've not done a ton of that, and then also that top dressing brush. it's kind of sweet, So it's definitely something that if you were in the market for a real mower, and you're looking at a new True Cut, man, you'd have to give that Swardsman a hard look, because it's compared. It cuts, in my mind, it cuts a little bit better, and you have a lot more options with it. So yeah, pretty awesome, pretty awesome. Roosevelt, good evening, man. Thanks for coming in. Let's see. So Mauro Marcelo, Steve has got a question for you here. Mauro, he chimes in. He says, Steve, I've always been concerned with the use of chemicals on our lawns and health. Are there any long-term effects from using our ferts, fungicide, insecticide, etc., with no personal protective equipment, no PPE? That's all you.
Yes, 100%.
Yes. Okay. Very simple. Yes.
So if you're using pro chemicals,
Mm-hmm.
the label is very clear on what you need to do. So a lot of people think that they can just get away with, not following the label regarding PPE.
Mm-hmm.
There's some pro chemicals, like, okay, if you're spraying it maybe one time or two times, you're good. But if you're spraying it over a long period of time without personal protective equipment,
Mm-hmm.
yes, they are very, very negative effects. So some insecticides, for example, that contain carbaryls, they are known to cause health issues. Um, a lot of chemicals, especially ester-based chemicals, they have propellants that are organic-based, diesel oil, esters, etc. Those are toxic
So
materials.
So then for PPE, so what are we talking here? So if I'm going out to spray like PGR on my lawn or any like liquid ferts, I mean, even if it's not a pro product, what are some basic things? I mean, is it something where I should be wearing a mask and
You
maybe
always
gloves?
want to protect. So you always want so you always want to protect yourself against drift. So you a lot of that can be eliminated by using the correct tip.
Okay.
So if you're applying a soil based chemical, you want the droplet size to be large and fly out at with a large size droplet. So tips that have air induction
Right.
are useful. Tips that throw large droplets are good.
So it doesn't blow
Um,
out, stays
yeah,
down.
so it doesn't blow out. So you don't want to use a fine tip for something that you want to minimize drift on. Now, if
Okay.
you're using a chemical that requires a contact application where you want it to be coated on the leaf, then you have to be aware of drift. So you want a windy day. If you need to wear a little face mask, you can wear a face mask, but you need to have rubber gloves,
Okay.
rubber boots, long pants, and long sleeve shirt.
Okay.
Uh, and that way you minimize the
Co-
contact with the
with
skin.
your skin. Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very important. And the label will tell you what type of PPE to use.
Okay. Awesome. So Mauro, there you go. There's your answer. A lot of times we are probably all doing it wrong. So we got to be more safe. 'Cause I'm sure a lot of this stuff probably builds up over time. I mean, granted, we're not like lawn care professionals where you're out spraying, tons of lawns every day, but still anything, you figure, I always say if a lot will kill you, a little bit will kill you too, but just a little just takes longer. So, anything you can do to minimize ingesting the
Yeah,
stuff,
and
inhaling it.
for example,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people like to spray prodiamine as pre-emergent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prodiamine is a chemical that prevents cell division in the roots
Okay.
of plants. So cell division, getting that on your skin,
Is
where
also
do you think you're going to be preventing cell division,
like
right?
on your body, everywhere it goes, right?
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah. Great question. Great answer. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
sir.
that was a good one. That was a good question.
Yeah, that's a good one. So let's see. Turtles and turf. Let's see. I mean, here's the thing. LG. I'm going to just walk away when you have to answer LG's question, because I'm sure he's always going to ask the tough ones. That's his thing. Okay, so turtles and turf says, in this new spring, are we in the spring season? Okay, so next year you're talking about. Are we putting down pre-emergent first or seeding? So, and see if you can chime in on this, but what I would tell you to do is, if you are going to seed your lawn, avoid putting down any kind of pre-emergent or any kind of herbicide. So I believe Tenacity is a selective herbicide, a selective pre-emergent, but most of them are not. So really, and here's the thing, guys. Even whenever you go out and you put down any kind of herbicide, right? Anything with side in it, meaning it's going to kill something, right? Even though they say it is safe for this particular grass type, all that means is it's not going to kill the grass type. Doesn't mean that it's not going to necessarily stunt the growth, cause perhaps some very mild yellowing. And given the cost of seed, like what it costs to put down, and also the time involved in putting it down, I'm not a fan of putting down pre-emergent or anything that's going to, interrupt the germination process when you're trying to establish new seed. So if your goal is next year, I want to get some new seed down, so you're seeding the lawn from scratch, or you're planning to overseed, I would avoid pre-emergence until that new seed is put down, it's growing in, it's established, it's doing its thing, and just realize, hey, you're gonna have to deal with weeds for a little while in early part of next season because of that. But you can't have it both ways. You have to give up something to get something. And Steve, any thoughts? He's like, no.
Yeah. So in the spring season, we're putting down pre-emergent first or
He's
seeding.
like,
Oh, okay. You can. There's tricks to this. Okay, so there are rates for prodiamine that you
mm-hmm,
could use that will allow you to put down a pre-emergent before seeding.
mm-hmm.
But most of the time, the calculation has to be spot on, and you need to leave at least 5 to 8 weeks
Oh wow,
uh,
yeah. So
window before you seed. But you got to get the rate spot on. The biggest problem, I don't know what region of the country you're in, but the biggest problem that competes with overseeding in the spring is POA.
okay,
So if you are in the region that we're in, I wouldn't even worry about it. Just once the it's difficult. So you're trying to seed.
yeah. I'm not
What
sure if
is
he's
he trying to seed?
overseeding or if
That's
he's
the
putting
question.
down new
What is
seed.
what is he trying to seed though? Is he
I'm
trying
not
to
sure, but I mean, but you figure, let's say he's overseeding, right? But what I'm hearing from you is that you can use protamine, but you got to be spot on, and even then, you're shutting
mm,
down your window 5 to 8 weeks. So my recommendation would
mm.
be just don't bother with it. I mean, if you're going
But
to
it
seed,
depends on if he's seeding cool season turf, then it's not really much he can.
I
Yeah,
got you.
if it's Bermuda, that I mean, yeah, you in your case, you're a special case because you overseed Arden 15 into an existing Bermuda hybrid.
Hmm.
So for you, it doesn't really matter because most of the cool season crap that will come up in the spring, you can smoke it out real quick.
Right,
But cool season people, if they're trying to do a spring overseeding with um, whatever seed of choice they're using, they're
right.
limited in herbicide options.
I
So
got
they
you.
can sometimes do tenacity for a few, like 1 or 2 weeks, but um,
Right,
yeah, just avoid
avoid
herbicide.
it. Got you.
Yeah.
Cool. Great, man. All right. So let's see. So guys, let's see what else we got here. So Ned G's in the house. Better late than never. Yes, you are. George, love the garage. George, I still got to check out your garage video, man. I got the notification about your video. I think about your some of the work you've been doing in your garage. I have not watched it yet, but I'm definitely gonna check it out later. So I saw that. Don't think I didn't see it. Um, Let's see. Before we get to LG's question, I'm going to take Travis's question here. He says, "Hey, I see you tried the Swardsman. Did you get to use the Allett?" I didn't. I didn't get to use the Allett. They had one there, but I didn't get to try it out. I imagine they're somewhat similar, and of course, I'm sure all the Allett owners will tell me, no, Allett is like, Swordsman's here, and Allett's even this much better. So I'm sure if you own an Allett, that's your preference. But no, I didn't get to try it out. Perhaps next time when I go up there, because again, they're not that far from me, I'll give the Allett a shot. We'll see. Maybe I can get up there and shoot some footage of different mower comparisons because they have everything. They've got True Cuts. They've got your California trimmers. They have a McLane. They have the Allett. Obviously, they have all the Swardsman models. So it should be pretty cool to just go out there and try out some of the mowers and let you guys see. I give you guys my thoughts on them. Very cool. So let's see. LG's got a cool question here. Um, so he says, any concerns about tank mixing trichlor
So
and mesotrone? There you go. This is you and mesotrone.
yeah. Okay, so um, you have to do a jaw test. Triclopyr, it depends on what type of triclopyr you're using. I mean, triclopyr 4, which is the ester base, is the best triclopyr to use. Uh,
Okay.
it it's extremely effective in the way it does its job. Uh, Mesotrione, tenacity. I don't know um, what purpose you're using it for. If you're using it as a pre-emergent or using it as a post-emergent, because if you're using it as a post-emergent and you are trying to tank mix triclopyr as well, then you might as well just go with T-zone or something, which is 2,4-D already with triclopyr in there. You don't need the tenacity. You can do that as a separate application if you're gonna try to prevent new stuff from coming up.
Okay.
So I mean, you'd have to do a jaw test. I haven't seen those two compounds mixed together, at least not the ester-based triclopyr.
Okay.
It may separate out, but you'd
Okay.
have to do a jaw test.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome answer. Yeah. So I mean it's and that's true for a lot of things. I mean, so when I get questions about mixing even among fertilizers, right? Say sometimes if you're gonna mix like say you're using T-Nex as like your PGR, right? You're putting that down and you want to also put down like a liquid fert of some sort or a micronutrient along with it. A lot of times they're supposed to mix nicely, but the sequence in which you combine them matters. Like a big thing with Steve was mentioning a jar test. Like I mix T-Nex along with my carbon products and also a liquid fert that I like to put down. But the sequencing is very important. Like you'll fill up the backpack sprayer, you'll put in the liquid carbon products, you'll put in like the micronutrient, and then the very last thing I'll add, like literally the last couple of inches, then I'll add the T-Nex and then fill it up and then agitate it because T-Nex it foams up like soap like crazy if you put it in that sprayer when it's like at half level, like it was typically recommended for adding or mixing things into backpack sprayer. So just big thing is just test it out, try it out, and see what you get. But cool.
Yeah, I would that one question regarding triclopyr. If you want to mix triclopyr with anything, like there's a lot of good stuff that you can mix triclopyr with other than mesotrione. So I don't know what your purpose is for using those two, but some of them already come pre-mixed, like
Okay.
Crossbow, T-zone. They all come pre-mixed with triclopyr already in there.
Okay. Cool. Good to know. All right. So more question. Let's see. Well, not Matt saying, "Hey, you're here, but you're here." Thank you, Matt, for chiming in. And the question we had was from it's always got to be which mower is better. Always with you guys. Does your GM still beat the Swardsman and Allett in your opinion? So I've not mowed with the Allett, so I can't say. Is the Greensmaster English Ron? Is the Greensmaster better than the Swordsman? The quality of cut, I'd say. I mean, here's the thing: I made like 4 passes with a Swordsman, right? But the Greensmaster, I'd say, just looking at the little bit of cutting I did, is probably a bit better as far as the quality of cut. But you're comparing apples and oranges, so the thing you have to ask yourself is, should the Greensmaster cut better than a Swordsman? Yeah, I mean the Greensmaster brand new is like almost like a $12,000 lawnmower, right? A Swordsman brand new is like what you mean? I think if you just get just a cutting unit, they're just under $3,000. So you can't really compare the two mowers to saying and expecting the same result. But for what it costs, the Swardsman punches well above its weight. Like I would definitely put it above the quality of cut that I get with my True Cut, bar none, definitely. Is it as good as the Greensmaster? Hard to say, but I'm gonna say just from the little bit of cutting I did with it, the Greensmaster is probably a little bit better because also too remember the ethos of the two devices. Like the Greensmaster is a commercial greens mower that's designed to run on golf courses, every day and to produce a very very precise level of cut consistently throughout like a day when they're cutting, as many as 18 greens, right? And it's designed to do that day in day out. So it's a commercial mower and it's designed specifically for that. Which is why you have some of the issues you have when you bring on a home lawn, as far as like the axles and it just being kind of a pain to deal with and all this kind of stuff, right? The Swordsman is very much, in my mind, takes a lot of the benefits of the Greensmaster, but brings those into a homeowner's lawn, a lawn that you can use on your home lawn. You get that solid rear roller, so you're going to get better stripes. You get the grooved front roller, which again also produces a better cut. Also has, as you guys learned in the video, if you guys haven't watched it yet, you get some natural like dethatching properties by using a grooved roller. So it's got a ton of benefits. And the fact of the matter is, you can get a great result with any of them. I mean, if you want to see what a Swordsman will do, look at Ryan Knorr's lawn. I think he primarily cuts his lawn with a Swordsman, and it looks incredible. So you can get a great result with any mower. I would stay away from the like which one is better than which. The Greensmaster is definitely better than my True Cut as far as quality of cut. There's no doubt about that. The gap between the Swordsman and the Greensmaster is definitely closer. So hopefully that helps answer your question as far as what I think about the Greensmaster and what I think about the Swardsman, because I like all real mowers. All real mowers are awesome. Let's see. So we got some more questions coming in here. It says Ned G says, "Is there a granular imidacaprid, big word, for grubs, and would that do less harm to the pollinators since it would go down into the soil?" Not sure if you have any thoughts on that
Yeah,
one.
so he's talking about the grubworm stuff. Imidacloprid, yeah, there's granular stuff out there. So the professional one is Merit, and then there's a homeowner one available at Home Depot by Bayer that has the
Okay.
imidacloprid in it.
Okay.
But you're still better off with the spray. So because it's cheaper, it's got better coverage, and then obviously, if you use the right tip, you can actually get it to hit the soil quite well. But yeah, there are granular forms.
Okay.
But obviously, with granular imidacloprid, you're going to have to wait on rainfall because it's got to get watered in deep.
Awesome. Great answer. Let's see. So let's take a lawn care question before we take another chemical question. So Wind Chariot chimes in. And guys, if you guys are enjoying the live stream, on your way in, be sure to tap that like button. You don't just smash it, just give it a light touch on the like button. Sends good vibes to YouTube, lets them know that we're having a great time, and we'll hopefully send more people our way to hang out with us. So the question we have now from the Wind Chariot says, "Ron, I need some details here. I'm going to overseed next spring. Is this the correct order? Aerate, seed, level, and no pre-emergent." That sequence will work pretty well. So here's the thing I learned yesterday too, and from being at Real Rollers, is if you might also want to consider verticutting. So like you always hear about like slit seeding. One thing that Real Rollers did with their Bermuda plot, they have a plot that's like part Bermuda. It's 2.419 sod, and they overseeded that with a perennial rye, if memory serves me. And what they did is they verticut the lawn one way, like lengthwise, and then they came back and cut it perpendicular. So what they did is they did little 1-inch slits or cuts or little notches all throughout the lawn, and then they overseeded. So, and I looked at their lawn, hopefully it came through on video, but the uptake rate was really, really nice. So as far as something to do to your lawn that will as far as something you can, as far as the process for overseeding, if you can also incorporate verticutting into that or some kind of slit seeding, I think you're going to get a better result. To answer your question, yes. So if you can't verticut, aerating is good. Put the seed down, and then you can add some. You can level, but I mean you don't want to go too heavy, because remember, we don't want to cover the seed up too much. You want to give it enough to where there's good soil to seed contact, but not so heavy like you would in a really heavy top dressing. And yes, absolutely avoid pre-emergent. I would do that to make your life simple, and you should get a pretty good result doing that. So awesome question. Awesome question. All right. So we have another one here from Alexander Thomas. He says, "Hey Ron, Starflow pre-emergent isn't labeled for residential turf." I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one. Are you familiar with that one, Steve? Starflow? I'm not sure.
He's talking about. I think he's talking about Ronstar. It's
Ronstar.
oxidizon.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure if it's not labeled for residential turf, but if he's looked that up, he's probably right.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason why some pre-emergents are not labeled for residential turf is because of their use in the pro industry, in golf courses and soccer fields and baseball fields, etc. So there's a lot of overuse. So, and obviously because oxidizon is a more restricted chemical, so some of these things are determined by EPA. So,
Okay.
if it's not labeled for residential use, then you can't apply it.
Don't apply it. Okay. Awesome. Well, great. Thanks for bringing that up to us.
If you just can't apply it, but there's plenty of other pre-emergents out there that are for residential use that are as effective as Ronstar or even better.
Cool. Awesome. So Cheryl Bender. So Cheryl, thanks for coming in, man, and also thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it.
Super chat received.
Yeah, you have some catch up. You've been away for a while, but I'm sure you've been busy. I know you're really busy with everything. Hopefully the Zoysia lawn is doing well. You got to send me pictures. Let me know how. I know we were working on what was we working on? Some nutsedge. You had a nutsedge issue that we were trying to work on as well. So yeah, definitely let me know how the lawn's coming along. I guess at some point I'm going to ask Steve about what his methods were for dealing with nutsedge. He has a pretty good sequence that I think you guys would like to hear. But yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But thank you so much, Cheryl. I really appreciate the generosity. Thanks again, and glad you are here on the live stream. All right, so let's see what else we've got here. Let's see. So we had our Ronstar question, and then the question from another question from Wincherry, and he says, "Can't you use protamine late in January, then overseed maybe in May?" I mean, you probably could, but like it's like again, the only thing you're really buying yourself, right, is not having to deal with weeds for in the springtime and even in the summer, which is kind of a big deal. But like dealing with weeds is a lot less of a headache in my mind than losing a lot of money in seed. Depending on the seed, I don't know what kind of seed you're putting down, but if you're putting down, like, let's say you're doing what I'm doing, you're putting down Arden 15, that stuff is like $400 for 25-pound bag of it. So you really want to do everything you possibly can to get good germination. So you could do it in early January if you really wanted to. I want to say that that the weed stop from Spectracide, I think it's Dithapir is the pre-emergent in that one, Dithapir, however you pronounce it, and that one is rated for like 4 to 5 months. But I wouldn't even chance it. It's just not worth like losing that seed, and all your hard work is going to go into preparing to even put the seed down. So hopefully that
it depends what you're trying to seed. So
yep.
that's what they say is late January, then overseed maybe in May.
That's what it gives us. What January? So it's like 4 or 5 months. Yeah, it's still a little tight. All right. Okay, so Brooklyn Boy says, questions. Triple 20 fert. What are your thoughts? It can be good. It depends. Does your lawn need a triple 20? Are you doing a soil? You know my answer is going to be. My answer is going to be get a soil test done, because again, you have to look at fertilizer, Brooklyn Boy, as a tool, right? So if your soil is lacking in all the macronutrients, if your nitrogen, your potassium, your phosphorus are all low, and you need to bring those levels up, then a triple 20 could fit the bill. If not, I wouldn't apply, especially that middle one. With phosphorus, if you look in a lot of states, like a lot of fertilizers don't even have phosphorus in them because a lot of people tend to over apply it. So unless you really need phosphorus in your lawn, I would avoid it unless you really need a triple 20. I wouldn't necessarily put that down just as a fert, just to put down just because. If your soil test results say you need that, then sure, absolutely, go to town, apply it at the correct rate, and you're good. Go forth and conquer. But you want to, like anything, you get the best results when you are feeding your lawn with what it needs, not just putting something out there. So hopefully that helps answer your question. All right, so we got a question here from Matt DeGore. He says, "Do either of us know what can be considered to lower the level of calcium in the soil? I'm about 3 times the suggested range from Soil Savvy to lower calcium in the soil." Any thoughts on that, Steve? It's good. That's a tough one. I'm not sure on that one. Yeah, I'll have to research that one on you, Matt.
It depends. A lot of the times, it's just the region you're in.
Okay. So there's some soils more calcitic.
Soil is rich in calcium, but try binding it up. I don't know of any way to do that.
Yeah. I'll have to take that one as a question for next time, Matt. Of course, you get the Stump Ron Award tonight. So see, lowering calcium. So I'll do some research into that, and I will get an answer for you.
Some of it should leach out from heavy rain and all that, but it also depends what turf you're growing. I mean, does it sometimes, like Bermuda, for example, calcium levels don't matter.
I got you.
Bermuda can grow in concrete. I mean, just metaphorically. I mean,
right. So Matt, let us know what kind of grass you're dealing with. So, because your soil test results might say it's really high, but it might not be something that you even need to really worry about. So, yeah, we'll have to see here. All right. So Edward Bonet checks in. Hey, Edward, thanks for coming in tonight, man. I appreciate you joining the live stream as always. He says, "Hi, Ron. I applied the winter fertilizer you told me. Can I apply other liquid products? Can you explain if there's a barrier for weeds? Does that break the barrier?" Okay, so a winter fertilizer, I think if you're putting down like a granular, so for your winterizer, no. So I think the question you're asking is if you have like a pre-emergent put down, is, does applying a granular fertilizer break that barrier? No, it doesn't. It doesn't materially degrade the barrier. So things that will do that, heavy rains, like lots of super heavy downpours, will reduce the effective time of your pre-emergent. Doing anything that pierces the soil, so like if you're scarifying or verticutting or aerating, anything like that, anything that's knocking holes in that membrane, that pre-emergent membrane that you form when you put the product down, that will reduce it. But spraying a product for weeds or putting out a winter fertilizer, those should not materially affect the longevity that you get out of your pre-emergent. If that's the question you're asking, I think that's what I'm getting from this. But if not, just chime in some more down below and I'll revisit. But I think that's what you're asking me. Cool. All right. So Chris Balducci, let's see what questions he has here. He says, hey, Ron, I received my soil test results. It looks like I need a lot of work. Looking forward to seeing what your thoughts are on it. Do I start trying to fix the issues now or wait until the spring? It depends. So Chris, if you've not sent me the soil test results as yet, this is my email address. It's on my forehead, right? Ron at ron-henry.com. It's right here. You can send me an email right here to that with your soil test results. Make sure to take a good picture of it so I can see them. And I'll go through it and I'll let you know what I think we should do as far as plan of action. So can you fix some of it now? Yes, it depends, right? If your pH is low, things like adjusting pH, so adding like a sulfate or adding like a lime to bring your levels up, those are things you can do pretty much at any time. If, let's say, your soil test results say that you're like really, really lacking in nitrogen, like you have like no nitrogen in your lawn, and you are a warm season guy, so you're like me, the time I would wait to try and do that, to try and put a heavier application of nitrogen down, would probably be once you're putting down what they call your winterizers. Like most winterizers, the ones that I like to use, or the fertilizers I like to use as a winterizer, have between 25 to 30% nitrogen content, thereabouts. So I haven't seen your test results. I'm just kind of talking through this with you. But let's say that your nitrogen is low. I would wait until you would apply your winterizer fertilizer to put down anything that's kind of a heavier nitrogen. Because right now, if you have a warm season grass, the grass is trying to go into dormancy. So we're not trying to really push growth while it's trying to go to bed. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if you're trying to fall asleep, you wouldn't go out and drink like 17 espressos. Same kind of thing for your grass. But yeah, pH we can absolutely work on. The micronutrients we can work on, but when it comes to the macros, especially nitrogen, I would wait until the lawn is moving closer to dormancy when you're putting on your winterizer, assuming you're dealing with a warm season grass. If you're dealing with cool season, now's like your go time. So yeah. Hopefully that helps. Let's see. What other questions do we have here? Super TA, I think he's talking about mowers. He says, hey, what makes one mower cut better than the other? So a couple of things. The weight of the mower. So if it's heavier, a mower that will sit on the turf and not bounce around, so it's less likely to bounce up and down, so that both rollers stay in contact with the turf better, and that will help produce a better cut. You're not going to get any kind of waviness. Now, Steve, I'm not sure. I've not seen a John Deere in person, but the one thing I will tell you about the Greensmaster that also helps produce a really good cut, and this is also kind of true for the Swardsman as well too, is the distance between the front roller and that rear roller is relatively short. So it's not like the True Cut where like the wheels are back here and the front roller's here. There's a big, almost like a departure angle where there's a if you're going over crest or over any kind of undulations, the mower is more likely to get like high centered possibly. With the Greensmaster, that distance, that wheelbase is shorter. So the John Deere is probably similar, I think, right?
It's similar. The John Deere it rides like the same way the Toro rides.
Mm-hmm.
The distance is not that far from the front to the back.
Yeah.
Even if the lawn's slightly uneven, it doesn't take any kind of strange bumps and dips.
Right. So I think that's one thing, Super TA. So the weight of the mower, obviously, if you are, depending on your height of cut, the number of bladed reel you're using, that can matter. The distance between the front roller and rear roller, so like the effective wheelbase of the mower, that can influence how well it cuts, especially if you're dealing with slopes. Those are all those things really matter. And how well it holds an adjustment. Like for a good example, like the Toro is probably also true for the John Deere. Like when I got my mower, it was set to 0.50, like at half an inch for the height of cut, right? I raised it up to 0.70, like after top dressing the lawn. And I did that in like late July, and it maintained that all throughout the entire season. Like I checked it a couple of weeks ago for a video I did for a viewer in Hawaii that wanted to show how to use an AccuProducts, how to use like a gauge for setting your height of cut, and the numbers were exactly the same on both sides of the bed knife from when I set it all the way in July, and that's from tons of mowing. So one of the things that you will get with a quality mower is that it's going to hold its adjustments better. When you set it up, it's gonna stay in that mode a lot better. And the JD and the Greensmaster are a little bit more of a pain, or a little more of a pain, more of an event to adjust the height of cut for a reason. So that once you set the height of cut, it's locked in. Any of the ones where you're able to easily move that, you could run into issues where the height of cut may not be as consistent throughout, depending on the turf you're going over. So all those, like anything else, just a bunch of small things add up. But again, if we're talking about the Swordman, great mower. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
The JDs are they're heavy.
Yep.
They're quite heavy. And
yeah, the
like
weight.
Mine has 11 blade, and
Mhm.
problem with the 11 blade reel is you've got to cut often, because you can't mow off too much with it, because it'll bog down because there's so many blades.
I got you.
I might try to find
An
a
8
reel
blade.
yeah,
Yeah.
because 11 blade is for like greens, so sometimes you're mowing 4 times a week even with PGR.
That's well. Hey, man, it's you gotta do what you gotta do. Get the lawn. You gotta get the lawn what it wants. You gotta do it. All right, let's see. Steve, this is a good question for you. So, any questions on Bio Advanced PGR? And that's hang on, is that the granular PGR? I think it's a granular.
Oh yeah. I think that's the granular T-Nex.
Yeah. So I've seen one video. I've watched one video on it. And I've never tried the product, so I don't know how well it works. It's probably fine.
Yeah,
It's probably okay.
my take on it is the price per square foot is too high.
Yes, that was the one thought I had too. Yeah.
Yeah, because for Bermuda, I think we use like 0.25
Yeah.
ounces per thousand.
0.25 to 0.38, depending if you got a Tifway.
Yeah,
Yep.
0.25 to about 0.38. I get excellent regulation at like 0.25.
Mm-hmm.
I get good regulation at about 0.3. It's perfect.
Right.
So yeah, at 0.3 ounces per thousand, $150 bottle will last you years. You can even go in on it with your neighbors.
Sure.
That slow-mo stuff, it's expensive per thousand square foot, and you got to apply it. Since it's a granular, there's got to be like dew on the lawn or something, because T-Nex I think is taken foliarly
Yep.
to the leaf.
Yep. Absolutely.
So you'd have to apply it when the lawn is damp. And then you're talking about, for good regulation, at least every 30 days if you're going the homeowner way. I don't count growing degree days, waste of time. I just go with every 30 days.
Yep. Yeah, that's what
It can get pricey.
Yeah, so that's the thing, because I want to, and don't hold me, because I actually can look it up here, but I want to say it was around $35 a bag, which doesn't sound like much, but again, to Steve's point, like a gallon of T-Nex goes a really long way. Like, I mean, literally, it's years worth of product. So, there is more. So let's talk about the pros and cons. The cons to T-Nex is that the liquid is that you need to really pay attention whenever you are mixing it. You do have to have a backpack sprayer to mix it with the proper tip. So there is that. There's more involved in doing it. But like the ease that you get, or the less hassle you get with a granular, is you're paying a lot more for that PGR than you are with T-Nex. So it's probably a good product. But just kind of, to Steve's point, just kind of pricey for what it is. So, but yeah, I'm sure it works okay. Let's see. Question from Mike Walsh here. He says, "Is your front lawn, I think, Tide or Arden? Is it? I think you're asking if it's Tifway or Arden. My entire lawn is, or is that, I'm not sure if that's a question for me or a question for Steve. And guys, for those of you guys that are joining the live stream, we just got a question on here. I'm looking in the studio. For those of you guys who don't know, because I mean, some of you guys are tuning in now, Steve is SMK, who's often in the chat. So he is a scientist, a research scientist. Explain again, Steve, what is the your specialty? What's your
My area of
research?
expertise. Basically agrochemicals, agropharmaceuticals. Just basically, I study the way chemicals affect the environment and stuff like that.
Okay. See, so the plant environment. So I had him on because a lot of questions you guys have about chemicals, herbicides, PGRs, things like that. He's done a lot of research into how they work, as well as also some things you want to be concerned about when it comes to those. So that's why I said, hey, you know what? Mix it up. You guys probably get tired of seeing my face anyway. So why not add someone else to the live stream and get some of your more detailed questions answered. So Mike, your question about is my lawn Tifway or Arden 15? It's both. So both the front and rear lawn are both a blend of Tifway 419 and they're overseeded with Arden 15. The front lawn, if you guys are watching the series I'm doing on showing the dormancy rates between the Tifway 419 and Arden 15, the front lawn still looks very even. Like the color, like the whatever I did in the front lawn as far as overseeding, it worked really well because it's kind of all falling off fairly evenly. I mean, you can see a few small areas where there's some splotchiness, but overall it's falling off. The color's going off like the same, fairly even. Like today, I was looking at the back lawn, like because this morning it was in the 30s. And I got out there and mowed anyway, which also reaffirms why I don't think I'm going to oversee my lawn with rye because it was miserable. I was all bundled up out there mowing like a crazy person. You guys can actually look, if you look on my my YouTube stories, you can actually see I did a short video showing like me mowing this early this morning, like right when the sun came up. But in the back lawn, you can really see the color differences. Like there's definitely the areas where you can see where the Arden 15 is taken really well, and where the Tifway 419 is still the dominant cultivar. So next season, that's one of my goals is to go through and really do a really good job. Wait till the temps are exactly where they need to be. Probably verticut the lawn a couple different ways, kind of like using that technique that Real Rollers pointed out, and then overseeding it to try and get a better result. But yeah, to answer your question, Mike, both the front and the rear lawn are a mixture of Tifway 419 and Arden 15. So great question. Grace, thanks for checking in. No problem. Better late than never. I appreciate you taking some time out of your Friday to join the live stream. I most definitely appreciate that. Don't worry about it at all. Let's see. So Stan G from Columbia, South Carolina says, question, can you use CarbonPro G on Zoysia lawn along with a regular fertilization schedule, a granular fertilization schedule program during the mowing season? Absolutely, Stan. So great question. The beautiful thing about CarbonPro G, and which is why I love the product so much, is that it is purely a soil amendment technology, right? There's no nitrogen in it. There's no measurable amounts of nitrogen, potassium, or phosphorus, no NPK. It is half biochar, it is half compost, and then it has a microbial package in it that helps break down whatever you put down in the soil that much faster. So really, literally, it's something that's just designed just to energize and feed the soil. So it can go down in any grass type. You can go on cool season grass, warm season grass, and really any time of year. You can apply it year round. The only thing about applying it in winter months, right, is that the microbials, like they tend to be less active when soil temps are low. But the thing is, once spring rolls around again, if they're going to wake up again, they're going to do their thing. Kind of like if you applied Milorganite in the dead of winter, you're not going to get a whole lot out of it. But as soon as temperatures rise up, they're going to, the microbials will go up. They'll start eating the milo and releasing the nitrogen and iron into the lawn. But yes, to answer your question, you absolutely can apply CarbonPro G on Zoysia year round with your fertilization schedule. Whether using a granular or liquid, you can use it year round. It's a great product. I'm a huge fan of the product. So yes, hopefully that helps answer your question. So Matt Dorsch chimes in on the mower. He says, I have a Greensmaster 1000. He says, I would choose an Allett or Swardsman if I wanted to use the various real accessories since they are interchangeable. Also, if I had a lot of turns on a smaller lawn, I would prefer. So yeah, I could see that. So I got to tell you guys, like you don't really think that having those attachments is that big a deal until you actually see how easy it is to change them. And then like all the different functionality, how different lawn tools you get out of having those attachments, right? So it's like normally you have to pay someone to come and verticut your lawn. You've got a verticutter. So for a smaller lawn, it's there's a lot of reason to try to choose an Allett or a Swardsman. I don't think you'll be making a mistake at all by going that route. So see, this is a question probably you can help answer. This is one from Princess Cut Lawn Care. It's about the
Mhm.
John Deere. He says, what makes the 180 SL different from the 180B? I'm not sure if you know that. I know nothing about
Yeah,
John Deere's, but
the 180 SL is a speed link.
okay. What does that
So
mean?
so the speed link is you can raise and lower the height of cut uh, by using a drill on one end, and it will spin, and it'll lower the roller up and down on both sides.
Okay.
So you can get the height of cut adjusted like really, really fast.
So,
So
so,
you don't have to check it on each side. So if you're using your AccuGauge,
okay.
normally you'd measure on one side, then adjust, and then go to the other side and adjust.
Okay.
You don't have to do that with the 180 SL or the 220 SL. You just adjust one side, and it'll be even across the entire front roller
Oh,
because you have a speed link bar that 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 hooks in at both ends, so it goes up and down evenly.
so yeah. So I mean, so is it just a
The
cost
180B is an
difference?
older 180B is an older model, so the 180 SL is a newer model,
Okay.
but the SL stands for the speed link.
Okay, awesome. So there you go. There you go, Steve. So, or sorry, not Steve, George. So to me, if you have a choice, probably the SL, because you talk about the one thing that's kind of a pain on the Greensmaster is going back and forth. You measure one side, adjust it, measure one side, and then you get them nice and even. And then as you start tightening down to lock it in, you got to be really careful. You got to like just go a little quarter of a turn here, come over here, quarter of a turn, check it. Okay, still good. Quarter of a turn here, quarter of a turn, check it, and then you just get it. You kind of work it in on both sides to get it, and
Yeah,
get it all
with
set
with
and
the
everything,
SL, you don't have to do that. You just measure it in the center, and
and you're
it's
good.
good. You use your drill.
Hmm.
It's 5 minutes and you're done.
Yeah, see, that's pretty sweet. So it's like the benefits or is approaching the ease of height adjustment of like a Swardsman or a True Cut with the quality of cut that you get in a greens mower. So maybe Toro will step up their game. Maybe they'll do something similar to that eventually, as far as having an
Toro,
e.
I like the way your Toro runs though. Your John Deere, man, that thing's like a horse. Sometimes it just drags you.
Uh huh. Yeah, the Toro is an event,
First time
man.
I
It's
used it today, but thought I was gonna crash into a tree.
yeah, no, the Toro, the Greensmaster is not so. It's not an intimidating. I mean, when you first get it, it is more intimidating than the True Cut because kind of like the McLanes and the trimmers. I think if I understand right, like once you lock it in, like the drive speed, the drum speed, and the reel are linked. So once you like drop that traction drive, it's going right. But it moves at a pace that's slow enough that you can do your whip turns and literally I can mow my entire back lawn and never take it out of gear. I can like go and whip it and turn back and drop it in and just keep going. And it's very, very fast once you kind of
I'm
get the hang of that.
jealous of that. Like if I had to buy one over again, I would have gone to the Toro because the John Deere, it literally like if you're not used to it that first time, it'll pull you.
It'll get you. Well, that's all part of it, man. That's all part of it. All right, and then let's see. So around the house with Pat says having a thick lawn is the best breed preventer in my opinion. Absolutely right, Pat. I could not agree with you more. So the big thing is I am not a huge fan of putting down herbicides in your lawn if you can prevent it. You know what I mean? It's just it's better to keep that stuff off your lawn. One, because it's better for the lawn, better for your grass. You're not putting chemicals that can be harmful for you down as well. Outside of like a pre-emergent, really, I would, if you could limit that to the only like grass or weed type side that you apply every year, then that I think you're doing really good. If you want to put down a fungicide, I think that's also a good idea too. But limiting poisons is always a good thing in my opinion. Always a good thing. All right. Let's see. So Cheryl asks a question. She says, where are you, Cheryl? She says, am I going to continue putting down CarbonPro G and L throughout the winter? Great question, Cheryl. So what I am going to continue putting down CarbonPro G, the granular. I actually need to go make a trip here to Site One and go pick some up. The L, I will probably once we getting temperatures in that are freezing, like really low temps, and the lawn is fully gone dormant, I will probably hold off on the L because like while the liquid you can apply it on when the grass is dormant, some of the components of it, like that iron that's in it, that can get really taken up by the grass when it's actively growing. So some portions of it are kind of being wasted. I'm not getting the most out of it. You know what I'm saying? So The L, I'm probably going to start tapering that one back. With the G, year round. I mean, literally I actually spoke with Miramichi Green about it. I asked them, hey, as far as applying this stuff, when is too much? Like when would you get to the point where you have enough in your lawn? And what the number they told me is that when you get to the point where you have like around a little over 100 pounds per 1,000 square feet, you're about the saturation rate. So it's going to take it's a several year process to really build it up to that point. As far as applying it year round, you can apply it, all year round, literally as long as the ground's not frozen, meaning that it will actually break down and actually get down into the soil, you're good to go. You're good to go. So Steve, you're telling me when we were preparing for this, I think you mentioned that you did like an experiment with the CarbonPro G as far as like seeing, like checking the microbial activity. Can you tell the viewers a little about that?
Yeah. So I was interested in seeing about the activity on the product, just for my own curiosity. So what I did was I took some samples and I ran a little test on them. And what I did notice that there was a lot of composting activity going on. So there was, under the microscope, there was huge amount of microbial activity, and then um, that there was a significant rise in temperature in the cultures. Um, so yeah, it is accurate what they're saying on that product. I tried it in a laboratory setting, and I was pretty amazed by it,
Very
because
cool.
I at first I thought it would just be okay. It says, oh, okay, there's microbiotics in here, there's compost in here, etc. Just throw it on and hope for the best, right? But nah, there was activity.
Very, very cool. So there you go. And that is yet another reason, because a lot of the carbon products, yes, you do get the biochar and you do get the compost, but that microbial activity, you can't really discount the value of that. Because remember, when you put down the fertilizer, like your plant, like it has to be broken down to be made available to the plant. So putting down microbes, in other words, you're making the soil very active by adding that healthy bacteria and those microbes to really help break down whatever you're putting down, is really going to allow you to get more out of whatever you apply to your lawn. So that's a huge thing, that the way Miramichi Green engineered the product, that not only do you get the biochar and the compost, but you also get a microbial package as well. That, as you can tell, we had a scientist look at it, and he's a believer. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, one thing I did notice when I applied it on my lawn, because I I used to use their other product before as a soil amendment. Uh,
The carbonized
but
PN.
yeah, the Miramichi green one.
Yep, that's the one.
And when you talked about this product, I was like, it's not a bad price point. Let me just give it a try. So I put it on my lawn, and um, I did notice two things that were interesting. This better looking color. It was like almost like blue green, almost like
Mm-hmm.
morning. It had that blue green look. And then obviously, like I said, when I tried take some material and grind it up together with that material, there was definitely composting activity going on. So I would think that over time, if one was to like aerate and apply it, and it breaks down over time, I think it's a legitimate soil amendment product.
Very cool. And I did a test with that. You guys saw, I'll see if I can find the video here, but I actually did a test on like one of the parts of my lawn that typically struggle. So you guys, if you're looking at my back lawn, that area by the rock, off to the right of the rock, that area tends to get drier and is often not the greenest part of the lawn. So I said, you know what? I mean, it's as a kind of an unscientific test, just to kind of see if visually I can see a difference, is I applied CarbonPro G at double the bag rate on that area. And again, and I say double the bag rate in the sense that it's not a product really that if you apply it really heavily, you're going to hurt anything else other than your pocketbook, other than your wallet. It's not like fertilizers or nitrogen or things that are going to hurt the soil. Really, it's just your bank account that you're hurting when you put it down too heavy. And there was a noticeable difference in the color, like the green, the sheen. The grass just looked it looked vibrant and healthy. So it's whatever mixture they put together in that product definitely works well. I can't recommend it enough. Grace is actually talking about CarbonPro G again. It seems like turning into the CarbonPro G show. It says, I purchased CarbonPro G this week. Temps at night have been in the 40s, days around the mid 50s. Should I wait till spring or put it down now? You can apply it now. Again, the microbial activity isn't going to be as active as it would be in the spring and summer, but you're not losing that. It's once the temperatures warm up again, you're gonna get the advantages of it. So you can absolutely apply it now. If you want to wait till the spring, you can do that too, but there's no reason to not do it now. If it were me, I would do it now, and then I would continue to do it into the spring as well too. Of course, obviously budget permitting. So awesome. Great question. Great question. Let's see. So Super TA, he chimes in. He says, "Hey, my phosphorus levels are very high. I used zero phosphorus this year, and it's still high. Not sure if I'll ever use phosphorus again." That's the thing, man, because I think that's why I'm not sure if it's the EPA, but why they in a lot of states they don't allow phosphorus in fertilizer, because most lawns have plenty of it, and it doesn't good to go away. It doesn't degrade in the lawn as quickly like nitrogen and potassium do. So.
Yeah,
Um,
phos is very long lasting.
mhm.
The reason they don't have it in fertilizers, at least in the US, is because of red tide. The problem with phosphorus going into the waterways is red algae. Sorry, they
Oh,
they
okay.
they end up in the ocean.
Okay.
Sometimes you see during the summertime, you see these aerial shots in the Gulf Coast or in Florida. You see this red algae going out for miles, suffocating everything.
It's from the
They're thriving.
phosphorus.
Yeah, they're thriving off of that phosphorus runoff.
I got you. So yeah,
So
so if your lawn
yeah,
doesn't need it, don't put it down. Don't apply it.
yeah, don't apply it if it doesn't. So there's sometimes there was people were throwing down a lot of Milo with the little Milo craze. That
Right.
that into
They can do it
like
too.
phosphorus.
So all things at rate for the most part. I mean, the only thing you can apply a little heavy is CarbonPro G if you want to, but even that, I mean, it's one of those things that takes time anyway. Don't be in a rush. Apply it at, I mean, they even give you two rates. They give you like they give you a light rate and they give you a heavy rate. If you want to go heavy, apply it at I think it's 10 pounds per thousand rate. And so you get 4,000 square feet of coverage with that one bag. So that's the heavy rate if you want to go hog wild with the CarbonPro G. It is a really, really good product. Yes. So, Josh, thanks for chiming in, man. Great to see you joining the live stream. Always a pleasure, sir. Always a pleasure to have you on. Let's see, Edward. Yep, you're most welcome, sir. Edward, I'm glad that we answered your question. Let's see here. Um, and then Matt was saying, thanks for looking at the calcium question. I am cool season and rye. I still need to research it, but remember the question we had about calcium, lowering calcium in the soil. He is Kentucky bluegrass and rye. So I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, you might need to look that up.
Yeah, I'll look that up because I don't want to give you the wrong answer. And because again, with Bermuda, Bermuda being alpha grass, you can slip up a little bit and it'll still be okay. But I definitely don't want to give you something or a recipe for your lawn and potentially damage your lawn. So let me do some research on it, and I promise I will get you an answer, because if you have that question, someone else probably does too. Let's see here. Mike Walsh, a question about mowing, says, I'm not able to cut lower than 1.5 inch due to my sprinkler heads. Do you think that is fine for Arden or Rio, Bermuda? Oh, and have you found out about Rio? Rio, I live in Waco, Texas. The thing with Bermuda, like an inch and a half, that's I mean, if you're talking about cutting it, at a height that it wants to be cut at, and it's going to allow it to thrive. I mean, you can get by with an inch and a half. The thing that you really get, the thing about Bermuda that makes it an awesome grass is that the lower you cut it, once you get down to like an inch and a quarter, an inch, is that it starts to grow laterally. You start to get that dense carpet, and it looks very beautiful, but also you get that natural weed control. The higher you grow Bermuda, the higher you allow it to grow, the thinner it's going to grow, because you think about it, the leaf doesn't have to grow laterally; it can go vertically to catch sunlight, right? So you can still do that. You're still gonna get a good result. I mean, Arden 15 at 1.5 inches is still look pretty good. As far as Rio, I have not found out about that one. I know I had a question to find out about that, but I will research it now. I'll put that one in my list for next time to talk to you about that one, that grass type. Unless you know anything about it, Steve. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Rio grass, but if not, I will look it up for next week.
What part of the country is that?
He's in
Texas?
Waco. Says he's in Texas, Waco, Texas.
I don't know if that the Bermuda, most of the Bermuda in the world comes from, at least in the United States, there's the Georgia wing of it, which is all tiff, 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 tiff,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Oklahoma side, which is the other side where the Bermuda cultivars are. So
I
I
got
don't
you.
know. I think it might be from there, but Rio does not sound like one of the Georgia
No, it
cultivars.
doesn't sound like one of the ones around here, like Rio, the Blackjack. There's a couple of them that they don't like. To this point, we've got like Tiff Tough, Tiff Way, Tiff Green. There's all the it's Tiff in a lot of the Georgia ones.
Yeah, from
Um,
Tiff.
Yeah, Tiff. Yeah, so that's that. All right, let's see. Chris, so if you sent the result and I've not answered, I will look into that, man. Here's the thing: if you don't mind, assuming your name is the same as it is in email, I'll look it up tonight. But if you don't mind, just drop me an email really quick. Just say like this email address, and I'll look through my email again and make sure that I find your soil test results. So if you sent it to me last Saturday or Sunday and I haven't answered, it's because I missed it. So just send me an email here if you don't mind just tonight saying, hey, yeah, this guy, and I'll go back through my email and find the one that you sent to me if you don't mind. I apologize for that. Normally I'm better about making sure I answer emails. So my sincerest apologies. I will get you an answer, sir. All right, let's see. Russell M. Go Dogs. Good job. good, good answer. It's either you or Donnell that's always in here all the time talking about like Alabama. It's like, listen, Georgia, we have enough problems. We got the problem with the Braves, the Falcons. Even Georgia, when whenever the game really counts, we have some challenges. Okay, so you guys that are from these other teams that have no problem with doing it, performing whenever the big day comes, you guys need to be a little more considerate. Don't, leave us Georgia people alone. We don't mess with you guys. Just leave us alone. We got the Masters. We got, best golf course in the world. So there. Huh. Let's see. Josh, thanks for checking in. Let's see. Okay, great. So this is a good one from LG. SMK. So Steve, one for you. Are you aware of any effective contact fungicides that are safe for residential use? So interesting.
I'm not 100% sure of contact fungicides that are safe for residential use.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
he's probably the only one that I think that he might be able to apply, but I know for sure you can't apply it on residential turf is clothanol. Um, but no, I'm not 100% sure of contact fungicides that are safe.
Gotcha. Okay.
But again, what is the purpose of using a contact fungicide that a systemic one can't take care of? So
Yep.
that's always a question when it comes to a fungicide. I mean, if your goal is to get rid of a systemic problem, can that address the contact issue as well?
I
'Cause
gotcha.
a lot of times you find contact issues on trees and stuff, so you can use a paintbrush or whatever on the leaves, but can on a turf, if you have a contact issue, can it be addressed with a systemic product
Okay. Fair
that's
enough.
available
Great.
on owner?
Great answer. All right. So, question about pre-emergent. Russell M says he let his lawn service go. So, Russell is taking his lawn care under his own control, I guess. He says, "Let my lawn service go, and I'm not sure if they applied the last application of pre-emergent. Is it too late, or will it hurt if I applied it and they did?" Um, I'm not sure where you are, Russell. I mean, as far as pre-emergence, Steve, any thoughts on if now would be you're a little too late to apply a pre-emergent for
For
for the
for what?
fall?
It's never too late. I
Yeah.
mean, if you so the if you're in where we are in the south, you're talking about your biggest problem is POA, maybe henbit and some of those other winter weeds, then yeah, you can they come in waves. So if you can
Gotcha.
stop them, if you can stop the second wave or the third wave from germinating, why not?
Great. So there you go, Russell. Now as far as if it's too late, if they also applied one. So Russell, the question I'd have for you, and again, hopefully you can chime in here. Um, as far as when did you let them go? So when was the last time they did it? If it's been a couple of months in between, you could consider doing pre-emergent, especially if you're dealing with Bermuda, because Bermuda will tolerate things that other grasses really won't. If it's been like a week and you're not sure if they did it, I might wait a little time. But would call them. I mean, if they'll take your call and if they'll tell you, which they should, call them and ask them if they put down a fall pre-emergent. If the answer is no, throw one down. If they said they did, ask them which one, and then then just work accordingly. I would avoid doing a double application if you can avoid it. But if they didn't apply one, you absolutely can apply one now without issue. Let's see. Okay, so question for you, Steve. So he says, what liquid fertilizer do you recommend, and what advice, if any, would you give on the topic of chemicals? I think you went over some of the top thing about the topic of chemicals. Big thing: don't over apply them. Like apply them at the right rate at the right time. But as far as liquid fert, like what's the liquid fert that you like, Steve? What's your one of choice?
mean, so I usually use uh, the Lesco stuff works really well. I've tried the simple lawn solution stuff; it works well too. Anything that has a low foliar rate of nitrogen,
Okay,
um, I like to apply it after I mow. Um, Gives my turf an instant burst, and the next morning it's looking
looking
like really
sharp.
good. Yeah. So I supplement my granular fertilizations with liquid. So my liquid ferts usually contain nitrogen, obviously no phosphorus, some potassium, and iron
Hmm.
and other micros. So I balance my micronutrient mixes and my nitrogen liquid ferts
Okay,
about even throughout the season, but I never exceed the annual rate for Bermuda. So I grow Bermuda. So for me, 5 to 6 pounds of nitrogen uh,
gotcha.
per season is good enough. So I add all that over the growing season.
Okay, awesome, awesome, great. So there you go. Hopefully that was helpful for you, Mike. So a question from Rayon, a question that was near and dear to my heart. Thank you for checking in, sir. I appreciate it. He says, I am planning on top dressing parts of my lawn next season. I want to use dirt instead of sand. What are some of the pros and cons of using dirt instead of sand? Okay, so if you're going to top dress your lawn, you really, if I can, I really want to convince you to kind of reconsider using dirt instead of sand. Here's a couple of reasons why. The big thing with, if you think about it, sand as a medium doesn't break down nearly as quickly as dirt does. So if you're planning on leveling, if you put down dirt, it's a lot richer organically, but you're leveling like all the work you're going to put into leveling your lawn, it's going to last maybe one season, maybe a season and a half, and then you're going to start getting a lot of some of those ruts back into your lawn. So if you want, if you don't want to use something like CarbonPro G as your organic component to your top dressing, you could do river sand and then a blend of dirt or topsoil with it. You can do that. I mean, that can work well. I think a 70-30 blend is about 30% is about as the most I would do so that your leveling job will actually hold for a while. The negatives, here's the negatives though. When you're putting down dirt, you're unless you're dealing with dirt that has that's been neutralized where there's not like no seeds in it and it's been pretty much like made inert, which is practically impossible to do. You're going to introduce weeds into your lawn. I mean, the issue that I had this year, if you guys notice, with both on my lawn and some small areas of Alex's lawn where we got a spurge outbreak, that totally came from the top dressing mix I use. I had sand, which is primarily sand, but they also had some soil in there too, right? So that's the probably the biggest negative is that once you if you're going to go with soil in addition to a sand mix, I would not do 100% soil, but if you're going to go with soil in addition to sand for your top dressing mix, I would plan to put down a pre-emergent or something, pre-emergent shortly after applying that top dressing because you're going to get weeds. And if you just don't want to have to deal with a big outbreak of might be spurge, might be crabgrass, who knows what it could be, you're going to want to follow up that top dressing once the lawn recovers with some kind of pre-emergent. My recommendation, if you want, well, how I would do top dressing, I would recommend that you aerate the lawn, put down a starter fertilizer like a triple 10, something light just to kind of stimulate growth. Put down an application of CarbonPro G, which is a great organic component, which doesn't contain weeds. It's not going to have all this, introduce a bunch of nastiness into your lawn. And then top dress the lawn with 100% river sand. So that's going to get you a great result. You're going to get a nice, level, even lawn, and you're not going to introduce weeds in the process. So that's what I would recommend. I would not do 100% soil to top dress your lawn because I think in the end you're not going to like the result. And I think the cost difference isn't that much. It shouldn't be that much of a difference between price between dirt and doing river sand. I'm not sure if you had any thoughts on the matter, Steve. But yeah, I just not
Oh,
something I would do.
sand versus dirt.
So yeah, sand versus dirt for top dressing.
What I've always done is I do a mixture,
Sure.
sand and dirt, but then I hit it with pre-emergent after.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I'm paranoid of bringing in stuff, but again, I've also found some good landscaping companies that have given me good stuff. But I think I've built up my layers enough now that I think going forward, I think I'm going to do 100% sand going forward. But
Gotcha.
again, I'm growing Bermuda, so it can take 100% sand with no problems.
Right. Right. Yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, it's your best result is going to be river sand, and if you decide to mix topsoil in with it, there's going to be some follow up you're going to have to do. Let's see, Steve. I hear an accent. Are you Jamaican? I don't know if Steve wants to say where he's from or where, but he is. But if you want to, you can. If not, you don't have to. Uh,
No, I'm not Jamaican. I'm actually Kenyan.
he's Kenyan, so there you go. So there you go. He's from other side of the world. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we have a question here. He says from Super TA is talking about feature. I think that one is the light fertilizer that also contains a bit of iron in it, I think.
Iron, the powdered iron product. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Steve, what are your thoughts on feature? I just picked some up for next season.
So it's just iron. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no, so it's a micro, and it'll give you the same boost any other iron product will give you.
Yep.
But it's a powder. You got to pre-mix it.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah.
I'll tell you, like I know a lot of people want to go with some of these more exotic products, but as far as like one of my favorite fertilizers, especially since they have fixed the formulation to where it doesn't stain your driveway nearly as bad as it used to in the past, and it's from Scott's. It's a product they call Green Max that has it's like 5.2% iron and it's 27% nitrogen and I think 2% potassium. So as far as like you talk about something that's going to give your lawn a really good kick as far as like filling your nitrogen needs for probably a couple of months, and then also getting you that iron is going to give you that really beautiful green up. That's a really good product, and you can probably find it at your local Home Depot or Lowe's. It's really easy. I mean, features again, it's probably good, but again, like if you're going to go through the trouble, I always say if you're going to go through the trouble of having to put on a backpack sprayer and mix things, unless and you're not using something like again like a PGR where there's a huge difference in cost by doing that. Just keep it simple. Like I would like I've never applied any like ironite or any micronutrient that is specifically just only iron to my lawn because there's so many products that will contain enough iron to make a difference while also feeding the lawn in other areas as well. So a good example, like CarbonPro L has a little bit of iron in it. So just something to consider. I'm sure it's a great product though, and you should absolutely apply it if you've already got it.
But the what I do, for example, is I use the 1200
Hmm.
containing iron. And so the other thing is iron applications have to be applied when needed.
Right.
It's very easy to over apply iron and end up with iron phytotoxicity where your leaf starts to become blue gray or black. Um, so the temptation to apply iron with that wanting that quick green is sometimes can be a negative thing. So you want to apply iron when needed. What I've noticed with the 1200, for example, if you containing iron, if you
Hmm.
are doing your PGR, that would be a good time to put that product in because it'll prevent the yellowing. Or if you're applying a herbicide like that causes yellowing, then it can be sometimes good to deliver it with the product that counters that.
Okay.
Um, but just spraying iron alone is not always the best thing.
Not always the best idea. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Super TA looks like Scott has a question for you about where you found the feature. So if you can answer him, maybe in the chat, he'll be able to tell you. And then let's see here. Winchariot says, when you overseeded your slope lawn front yard, is there anything extra to keep the seed from washing down? I've ordered Arden 15 stored in a house. Is it good until spring? Yeah, as long as as long as you keep it dry. I mean, ideally, you want to order the seed right before you're going to use it, right? That's typically best. You don't want to like keep seed around for several years. But as far as keeping it on a sloped yard, the thing that I did when I did on my front lawn is I didn't mow like super low. Like I kept I think the one say the grass height. If you guys look at that video, it was around 3/4 of an inch, right? So what that does is whenever I got rain, you're less likely to have runoff, less likely to have like soil and the seed washing out. What you can also do is after you seed, if you want to do like a light top dressing on top of it, I mean not like a full top dressing, like a light top dressing to kind of put again just to kind of hold it in place. That's always an option too. I've seen some people also apply peat moss on top of overseeding. Those are all things you want to put some kind of medium down on top of the seed so that it doesn't dry out, so that you're ensuring good soil to seed contact, and it's just not just sitting on top of the soil so that birds and other things will also start eating it, right? So there's a couple things you can do. Most of them are making sure that grass is a little bit taller, so don't have it like super tight. And then also just putting a medium down on top of it, something super light, like a light top dressing will go a long way. And in my case, I got really good results doing that. Really good results doing that. Let's see. Hey, Tiffany, no, you did not miss a live stream. Thank you for checking in. Hopefully your lawn's doing better. I know you said you had, you told me you tilled your lawn and you were trying to get some of the bumpiness and unevenness out. So hopefully you're making some progress on that front. So awesome. Awesome. Let's see here. Dizzy Dallas says you cannot purchase CarbonPro G in California. It's not been approved.
You don't forget that in California is a whole other world.
Yeah, you come to Georgia. Yeah, you can buy pretty much anything here. But it's what's weird is that here's the thing, CarbonPro G. I would think, in all seriousness, Dizzy Dallas, I that's one that I think they would eventually. I would hope they would eventually approve because it is not a product that can really be easily abused, and it's not really harmful to the environment. So it's that's one you might actually get through, assuming that I don't know what the process is as far as getting lawn care product approved in a state. I'm not sure if it's something that Lesco is going to have to do as far as submitting it and paying fees. I don't know how that, I have no idea how that works. So that might be way into it too if they want to even go down that process.
It's a lengthy process.
It's a lengthy process, yeah. And again, if like anything else, probably costs money. Yeah, Super TA also chimes in with you what you said there. Steve saying, yeah, the milo craze definitely attributed to the high phosphorus levels. So, phosphorus levels. So he says, I did a renovation with Kentucky Bluegrass and used half the rate of starter fert. I think I should have skipped the app. Yeah, I mean, starter fert. Again, a little bit. That's why I always say starter fert, like a little bit of fertilizer just to kind of help start things. And you don't have to go super heavy. I mean, any amount of nitrogen you can put in there just to kind of help the seeds take off and begin growing is going to be helpful. You don't need to go super heavy. Let's see. So Cheryl asked a question. She said, Cheryl, you're asking for the secret sauce, man. The secret recipes. Like, what else am I putting down throughout the winter? Nothing really. Just I already told you guys. Just CarbonPro G. That's all it's going to be. There's not really anything else. So the things you guys are going to see me apply between now and spring is I will put down a winterizer. I hate that term because it's really, in my mind, it's really more of a marketing term. But I'm putting down a winterizer fertilizer once we get a good frost, and I think we've probably gotten one this week. So probably towards the end of probably a couple of weeks from now, if not next weekend, the weekend after that, I'll probably apply my winterizer. I'm going to try a fertilizer that I got from Central Turf and Irrigation. It's a fertilizer called Jackpot that they say is a combination organic and synthetic fertilizer. And, they asked me to give it a shot. So I'm going to try that as my winterizer for it. I'll definitely document it, do a video, show you guys the product and show you guys applying it. But outside of that, just the CarbonPro G. That is the thing I'm gonna do because I saw such good results with my lawn this year by introducing carbon to the lawn. And the thing is, as I've learned more about it, like even like kind of like herbicides, you want to minimize using those in your lawn. Like even fertilizers, like use that as little as you have to. Like you want to feed the lawn, obviously, but like if you can put a product into the lawn that's going to improve the soil health, so that when you put down that fertilizer, you're going to get more out of it. Why not? Like, why not? So that's why I'm not going off tree hugger on you guys or anything, but I'm just saying that there is definitely something to adding carbon to your lawn on a regular basis that is beneficial. And a net result is you're gonna get what we all want, which is a prettier lawn out of it in the process. So yes, sure. Hopefully that answers your question.
Like anything, once that first frost hit, I just stopped. I've been mulching a few leaves here and there,
you're done. You're calling it. Yeah. Calling it till spring. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Josh says, Ron, my front yard is 2,000 square feet. I need some heavy top dressing and irrigation. Would you just rip it up, level, irrigate, and lay new sod, or fix and add irrigation? I'm torn what to do. Send me some pictures, Josh. It's. I mean, your lawn would have to be really, really bad to rip up everything. Because here's the thing. Even if you go through, and here, send me an email here, ron@ron-henry.com. I'll leave this up I'll leave my neon sign up while I answer your question. Even if you were to rip up all your current grass, right, and then level it, and then put down new sod, there is going to be a settling process. Like this whole thing of where I rip out grass, put down new sod, and then it's like all magically good is just not a thing. Like if you don't believe me, go drive around to any neighborhood that's where it's new construction and they put sod down and see how it looks. Even though, I mean, you'll see how the lawn, the turf or the soil look before they put the sod down, and it's fairly even. They'll rake it out and they'll make it fairly flat. But when they put the sod down, it looks bumpy and like really rough looking. So you're still going to have to top dress on top of that anyway if you're really serious about having a smooth lawn. So I would say fix what you have. I mean, a reason to kill off the grass you have or get rid of what the grass you have now is if you don't like it and you want to change to something different altogether. So say you have St. Aug and you want to go to Bermuda. That's a case where, yeah, like torching it, smoking it all out, and killing it off and then putting in Bermuda makes sense. But if you're just wanting to get a smooth Bermuda lawn, you've already got it. I would again, send me pictures so I can see what you're working with, and we can make a decision. But in just from without even seeing it, I'm going to say you're probably better off trying to fix what you have. As far as like the irrigation and sprinkler heads, a good sprinkler company can come in there and they can adjust the heights of those heads. So even if after you level it, the sprinkler head's sitting a little lower, because that was the case with mine. The guy that did Alex's lawn, the top dressing on his lawn, he came out one day and he reset all my sprinkler head heights for me in the back lawn. So where they, we dug a little hole there, dug out a patch of sod, took it off, dug out the sprinkler head, raised it up a little bit, and then, reburied it and put it back down, and it was good to go. So there are things you can do that are a lot less headache to get a really good result out of your lawn. And I don't want you to go out and tear everything up thinking that it's gonna be a faster route to what you're after. Like if you've already got settled soil, leveling a settled lawn is going to probably be more effective than ripping it all out and laying new sod. So awesome. Guys, thank you guys so much for the generosity. So I got a couple of super chats here. We got a super chat from Rayon.
Super chat received.
Thank you so much. And then Josh, of course, coming through with your super chat. Guys, thank you so much for your generosity. See, you guys are helping me afford CarbonPro G, my CarbonPro G application for December.
Super chat received.
So thank you so much for that. I really, really, really appreciate it. You guys totally don't have to, and I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel and also by watching the content. It encourages me to keep going whenever we put out a video and you guys actually watch it and comment on it. So thank you guys so much. Gary Gale has a question. He says, "Hey Ron, what good liquid iron to put down on Celebration Bermuda in Florida?" Okay, so as far as a liquid iron, I would not put down just a product that is purely iron. I'll put it this way. If your soil tests say that you're only lacking iron, then yes, apply a liquid iron. But in most cases, if your iron is low, your other micronutrients are probably going to be low. So that micronutrient product from Simple Lawn Solutions, I really like that. That's a really good product. If you can find Brent Supreme Green, that's an excellent product because it's 9% nitrogen and it contains some manganese, some zinc, and the iron that's going to get that green up. And because it's a combination, right? Iron helps you produce a nice green turf, but also a little bit of the nitrogen kicker also helps produce green turf. So my recommendations for you, let me I'll put something in there. And Steve, I'm not sure if you had any thoughts on what you would use to chime in. I'm not sure if you had any options.
So he's in Florida, so he can. There's this Sunnyland micro, the Sunnyland micro mix they have from. It's readily available, I think, in Florida because that's a Florida company.
Okay,
works pretty well. I think Lesco have a micronutrient mix as well. But he's got that celebration, man. That stuff is awesome.
Yeah, celebrate. The first Bermuda.
Plus your Florida stadium.
Yeah, so the first so micronutrient, I'll put this here. There's a link for you, Gary. In case you're looking for one off of Amazon. So story about Celebration. When I was first looking into a powered reel mower, right? When I said, okay, I'm going to make the plunge, I'm going to get a power wheel mower. Like one of the first videos I saw on YouTube was a guy cutting his Celebration Bermuda. You probably still find it if you look up True Cut. But he was cutting Celebration Bermuda with a True Cut, and you'll notice the video I'm talking about because he had like a brick on the front of the mower to kind of weigh it down so it didn't bounce. And he was cutting it, and it looked awesome. It was like I was like, man, I've got to get me a mower after seeing that. So if you have Celebration, man, congratulations. That's a really nice cultivar.
That's some good stuff.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And Super TA, thank you so much for the
Super chat received.
super chat, sir. Yeah, Steve. See, it looks like everyone's liking you, man. They're saying you are awesome, and they want us to have you on the live stream more. So awesome. I'm sure
Cool.
he
Appreciate it.
wants to hear
I'm
that.
enjoying it.
So and
Super chat received.
Rick also as well, a bit more for my CarbonPro G. Thank you guys, sir. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate the support. Okay. So what questions were we? So we answered Gary's question, and then he says, Mike Walsh says, this is an interesting one. Have you heard of using human multivitamin to give plants micronutrients since they contain the nutrients needed by plants? I don't know if it's available enough. Steve, you're the scientist on this one. I'm going to say no, but you.
There's some stuff that they sell on Amazon that they consider like nutrition graded type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All that gimmicky. I mean, the plants generally make their food themselves.
Right.
Okay, they don't need to go to grocery stores and have help and all that. They make their food on their own. So human multivitamins for micros is a waste of money. Just go with the micros that are available for plants that are widely available, either pro grade or DIY grade.
Cool.
And preferably, go to Site One and get the 2.5 gallon jug of micros, and you're good to go.
Yep. Cool.
Multivitamins, etc. In my opinion, my scientific opinion, I think it's gimmicky.
There you go. So there you go. You have someone that actually studies this stuff, and he thinks, I mean, even if it works, there's so many ways that are documented that we know these products definitely work. So no reason to really reinvent the wheel. So awesome. So Edward asked a question. He says, hey, can my Kentucky bluegrass and rye grow horizontally like Bermuda? I cut it at 3 inches, but would like to cut it lower. I want it to look like yours. So it's a good question. I don't know if rye will really run like Bermuda will, but you can cut it really low. Like go check out Ryan Knorr's channel, man. Like he cuts his rye way under 1/2 inch. I want to say he's closer to like the 1/2 inch range at how low he cuts his. And it's happy. It does well. And the thing with rye is it stripes amazingly. Like if you like stripes, rye or like a Kentucky bluegrass, man, that is what you are after because it grows up, right? So the thing that creates the stripes is the lawn, is the grass laying down, and then depending on how the sun is hitting it, make sure I'm telling you this right. Lighter stripes are when the grass is facing away from you. Darker stripes are when the grass is like is been rolled towards you. So you really, believe it or not, like a grass that grows up and is going to stripe better than a grass that grows like a vine like Bermuda because you're literally like pushing it and laying it right over. So that's why KBG and rye produce such beautiful stripes. And for you, just mowing it lower is going to do well. I mean, 3 inches will stripe pretty well too. But if you want it to be lower, you can cut it, assuming your lawn is level, assuming your soil is where it needs to be. It's going to be a process to work down from 3 inches to like even say 1 inch. Is going to but that it's going to be a process. But you can definitely cut at those heights and get good results. I know Ryan Knorr does it, and his lawn looks amazing cut lower. So
you have to train it.
Yeah.
So rye doesn't run; it tillers out though. So the seeds will germinate and eventually will tiller out a little bit. But then in subsequent years of overseeding the rye over and over and over, it'll get tighter and tighter. And then obviously the KBG will run. And then you can use PGR to make it even tighter. But you're going to have to train it to come down from 3 inches to how we mow Bermuda. You're going to have it super level like a pool table. And then you're going to have to train it to come lower down. That means you're going to have to get a real mower.
Yeah. So it is a process. Edward. And even though Bermuda likes or will tolerate being cut, it thrives being cut lower. It's still a training process. Like if you've been cutting Bermuda at 3 inches for years, like you're not gonna, the first time you put a real mower on it and cut it lower, it's not gonna look good. It's gonna take you have to train the grass. So to Steve's point, really, putting that sand down and getting the lawn pool table flat is going to go a long way towards getting that look. I mean, I cannot stress enough how important top dressing is to having a really, really tight golf course lawn look. 'Cause that's what golf courses do. That's why golf courses look the way they do, is they top dress them all the time. So that's just something to consider. But yes, you absolutely can achieve a result, and actually, you can get better stripes than what I get with your grass type. So that's something to to look forward to.
I'm always jealous of these cool season dudes with those stripes.
Yep, yep, most definitely. Most definitely. All right. Let's see. Yep. So Chris says he resent my email. Thank you, sir. I'll look it up. I'll definitely get an answer for you. Let's see what else we have. He says Tiffany White. He says your Chris has an amazing voice, and Chandler could listen all day. So there you go, Steve. You got a fan.
Thank you.
And it says,
Thanks.
Mike. So Mike Walsh asked a edging question. He says, when it comes to edging, do you go string or blade? I am I think they call it a stick trimmer. I am the one with I am the blade. I'm a blade guy. So I've seen the guys with the lawn care guys that are pros that are always do like 10, 15 lawns a day. I run a string trimmer and get a pretty good edge, but kind of think about it this way. Kind of like how a reel mower is or a rotary mower is kind of like, even though it's cutting the grass, in some ways it's kind of like hacking and tearing at the grass. A string trimmer is kind of the same way, unless you're using like a finer string. So using an actual stick trimmer with a sharp edge, a good squared off blade, is going to cut the grass. It's going to get you a better edge. It's going to do less damage to the grass, like it's less tearing. It's going to give a cleaner cut to the grass. So for me, I like a blade. I like an edger instead of a string trimmer. Steve, I'm not sure what do you use to edge yours? Do you use a string trimmer or a blade, or what are your thoughts?
I suck at string trimming. I really suck at it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've always gone with a blade edger. And since I started, I stopped rotary and started real mowing.
Mm-hmm.
It looks crazy though, but I try to let my neighbors not watch me doing it. But sometimes I actually take a scissors, like to the edges, so
Okay,
that,
you are more committed than I am.
so that you don't get that rip. Because once you because the real mower has it looking like a carpet. But then you get to the edge, and I'm not going to buy the landscape blade. The thing's too expensive. So
Right, right. I got you. Yep.
I have my little hedge trimmer, and I do it real quick.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
then, but
I'm sure your neighbors have
the
seen
outside
Steve.
edges are always with the blade.
Yeah, I'm sure your neighbors have seen, and they're just like, so, Steve's out there on his lawn again. So after a while, they just come to expect it. After a while, they just come to expect it. All right, Tiffany asked a question. She says, Ron, have you heard of green sand? It has mineral content. Green sand. No, I have not. Let me see if I can find that really quick. Let's see here. So green sand, it says here that it's a manganese green sand is a formulated which is capable of reducing iron, manganese, and hydrogen sulfide from water through oxidation filtration, soluble. Yeah, I've not heard of this before. I'm not sure what it does, like what you would use with it. You said it has mineral content, but I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm not. Steve, you ever heard of this one, green sand? You ever heard of that product?
No, I wouldn't put that on the lawn. It looks like it's removing mineral content out of water.
Yeah, it
You don't
looks.
want to plant.
Yeah, it looks, because it says it's for lowering it. I guess maybe if your iron levels and your manganese levels are
So
super crazy
you go
high,
back to
maybe.
that picture looks like it's pulling minerals out of the water. It's like almost like a filtration thing.
Yeah, yeah, I'll put it up here again. You guys can see. Yeah, the picture does look like that. It does look like a filter where it's removing. So maybe it's a situation where if you are super heavy, if maybe you've gotten too high in those micronutrients and you're trying to pull it down. But at best, this seems like this is a specialty product that fits a very specific purpose. It's not something I think you really would want to apply to your lawn unless there's an actual real reason to do so.
Yeah, in reading the description, it looks like it's a product that traps excess minerals from water.
Hmm.
So it's like a sand type um, compound that the minerals will get trapped in the pores because the mineral is larger than the pore size.
Okay.
So the mineral will get trapped in the pore. The water will come out on the other end lacking that mineral. I
Okay.
don't think that would be a good thing to put on a plant
Yeah. So we'll
because
probably avoid that one
all the
for our lawns. Yeah.
especially rainfall. Rainfall comes down with tons of minerals. You don't want to
Gotcha.
pull that out of the water.
Definitely. Cool. All right. So Mauro Masilio, he says, Mauro, thanks for chiming in the live stream. I'm not sure if I welcomed you in earlier. Thanks so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Always good to have you aboard. So your question is, you came across a microbial pack called Recharge on YouTube/Amazon. Is it worth it? And would this increase insect activity? I've not heard of Recharge. That's a great question. I'm not sure, Steve, if you've heard of that product before. I've not heard of that one.
But again, it looks like it's one of those Amazon specialty products. A microbial pack is a microbial pack.
Yeah, I mean, one I can tell you that definitely works is, I can do this without making a mess, is this one. So BioSpectrum, this is the stuff that Miramichi Green makes, and this is what's in CarbonPro G. This stuff I know works. So, and it's not that expensive. Like a little bit of this goes, like literally for a backpack sprayer, a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, like it's something like 4.4 grams, or like to get a plastic spoon, like a plastic spoonful, pretty much is what you do. Take a plastic spoon full of this stuff, get a, not a cup that you're drinking out of, but like a container this size, fill it halfway with water and put that in, and then get it and stir it to get it suspended. And this mixture that has the microbial suspended in it, pour that into your backpack sprayer and you're good to go. So I would use something like this. This is a great product, not super expensive. I know this stuff works. And to Steve points, a microbial is a microbial is a microbial, but this is one that I know is made by a reputable company that performs really well.
I mean, so the microbial thing is all about, it's all about the health of the soil, the health of the so a lawn or any type of lawn or plant thing is actually an ecosystem. So everything that's living within that ecosystem is going to thrive if the ecosystem is stable. So what these products are doing is trying to mimic thriving ecosystems, even though they're like just one type of plant life, which is turf. Okay, so
Sure.
you know,
Sure. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't, the long and short of it is, if it's a good product, sure. But I mean, if you're looking for a microbial, I think the BioSpectrum from Miramichi Green, that's probably what I would go with, Moro. And it's pretty easy to find. If you got a site one nearby, they're gonna have that, or they can easily get it for you. Okay, let's see what other questions we have.
so microbials don't have to really have anything to do with insect activity.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, insect activity is relative to the environment that the turf is existing in. So the
Okay.
question is there a healthy balance between insects, because you can't eliminate them all, and you don't want them overrunning. So there's a happy medium between beneficial bugs and beneficial things that are living in the soil versus them overrunning and taking over everything.
I got you. And getting that balance is what's really key to building an
So,
ecosystem that helps the grass do well.
yeah, like there's some insects I don't even target, like box elders, for example.
Mhm.
They around May you'll see them everywhere, but they're not harmful, so you don't really need to spray them out.
I got you. Okay. Cool. All right, so let's see. Around the house with Pat, he chimes in about the Kentucky bluegrass. He says, I've been cutting mine at 2 inches for many years with my rotary. It can be done. So yes, absolutely. So you can do it. I'm assuming that your lawn, Pat, is relatively level, so we're able to get away with cutting Kentucky bluegrass at that height with a rotary. 2 inches again for a rotary. That's. I mean, you're getting a little lower, but that's definitely doable, like you said. That's not. That's not like trying to cut an inch with a rotary. That's where you can start running into some challenges. LOL at Steve. He says, "Oh, it's Steve. I bought a small battery scissors to cut edges. I'm paranoid using it because the neighbors will think I'm crazy." You guys, listen. You guys need to just go get a stick trimmer. The using scissors on even for people that are lawn care geeks, using the scissors on the edge is a bit much. I'm gonna tell you guys. It needs to be an intervention.
No, it's not so much the actual edge. So the edge right by the concrete,
Mhm.
you can do that with a blade edger. What I think Super TA and myself talking about is
The
when you
the
get
Right. Okay. So the thing I noticed too, and I know here's the thing I'm kind of crazy about. My edging process is when I do it, 'cause I actually don't like edging that much. But my edging process is, so I'll mow the grass, I'll edge, and then I'll make another pass with the mower just along the edge to kind of knock down any little high spots. Because
You got guts.
no, because
That,
that
that
you gotta clean up the edge,
concrete,
man.
you got more courage than me. If the
Yes.
real concrete, I'll lose my mind.
Yeah. So there you go. So everyone's got their little insanity, the little process they use for getting that perfect edge. So yeah. All right, let's see. So small southern lawn chimes, and he says recharge works best on potted plants and container gardens. So there you go. So that product, while it's probably a great product, is probably more targeted towards potted plants, like he was saying, and can target container gardens. So cool. Thank you for the feedback. Small southern lawn. Let's see here. Alexander Thomas says that green sand may be used for pool filtering. Yeah, I don't know, man. Kind of like what Steve was saying, it looks like it's a product that's designed to remove or to suspend some of those micronutrients, which again, unless you've got some kind of weird going on with your soil where it's like they're way off whack and it's causing problems. I don't know. I think again, that's a situation where that's a very specialty product, and I think you'd really have to have a really strong use case for applying
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
to your lawn.
Based on its price point and its size, it doesn't even look like it's a lawn product.
Yeah, yeah, because it's yeah, because you're right. It is a pretty big bag.
$89 on sale, and it didn't look like it would. It doesn't look like it can be applied to any square footage.
Right, right. Yeah. So Tiffany, I'm gonna say we're gonna say probably avoid that one if you can. That's gonna be the recommendation there. All right, and then Super TA. This is like our last question of the night so far, guys. He says, "I understand that worms are good, but worm castings are really messing up the look of my lawn. They pancake down and create dead and bumpy spots. How can I slow them down for worm castings? What do you think, Steve? What would be your recommendation against worm castings?
With I live with them.
You,
There's nothing you can do about earthworms. They're gonna come up when it's wet. They're gonna do their thing, but they're doing a lot of good things underneath. So getting rid of the worms is not is at least in my book is not an option.
right.
They're literally aerating for me all the time, and I normally get this problem in the middle of February and stuff, or when it's a lot of rain in Georgia, and
Mm-hmm.
they keep coming up and putting their stuff on the lawn. But during the growing season, I don't have that much of a worm problem. But when I do, I just brush it off and I move on.
Sure.
I don't try to control worm castings at all.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's the thing is, the one thing I'm getting out of this again, Steve and I had a conversation prior to the live stream, but the one thing I get, and as I get more into lawn care, so I'm getting a little bit more mature, just to speak, in my lawn care journey, is you need to strike a balance. Like golf courses, like believe it or not, like golf courses are actually not very healthy for the environment. Like a lot of the products and chemicals they apply to make a course look the way it looks, like is not really healthy for the surrounding areas. It looks amazing, but it's not something that you'd want to replicate in detail, like for a home line, I think. And in most cases, you really can't, because a lot of the chemicals they use and the rates at which they use them, you can't really apply on home lawns. So striking a good balance between allowing like the creepy crawlies in the soil that help you, while also getting rid of the ones that can damage the turf grass, like your grub worms, the Japanese beetles. I think that's, striking a balance is important. So yeah.
Prevention is always the way to go. I mean, the especially with the fungicides, like I rarely I use fungicides, but it's a very limited basis. So I prevent the fungicides before they even come up, the fungus. So I get it before there's a fungus problem. Fungus is one of those things that if you can prevent it from happening, um, it's
Do it.
way better than it, because
Yeah.
once you start eating a fungus, it becomes a battle that you can't win.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. So, question from Travis. Travis says, "Hey Ron, when you overseed, how long do you wait before you cut?" 2 weeks. I know you're supposed to wait longer, but I've never been able to like hold myself back for 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks. And what I do is I raise the height of cut up a little bit, so that I'm not like tearing the grass out of, like, the fresh grass right out of the turf. Um, by the letter of the law, you're supposed to wait. They say 3 to 4 weeks, let it grow, and then cut it. But I haven't been able to make myself do that. Maybe next year I will behave and overseed and like give it like say 3 weeks before mowing. We'll see, right? But yeah, the letting it grow and letting it get established is good, because you are, for fresh grass, when you run a mower on it, you're running a heavy piece of equipment on it. It can actually uproot some of the freshly germinated grass. So giving it 3 to 4 weeks is good. I've typically made it about a couple of weeks because my OCD kicks in and I can't, like, let the lawn get super long. But something I have to work through next year if I want to get a better result. All right, so Small Southern Lawn chimes in, says, "You love the Real Rollers Visit video." Thank you so much, sir. I'm glad you guys liked it. Hopefully you guys are, if you guys didn't see it, and again, I'll put it in the chat here for the people that have just came in late, that were not here at the beginning. So yesterday, I went to Real Rollers for a quick visit where they showed me all about the facility, talked all about grooved rollers, smooth rollers, all the different mower types. Here's the thing, guys. There's a lot of science behind smooth and grooved rollers that I wasn't even aware of. Like they pretty much, they explained to me was, when you're going from a rotary lawn to a from a rotary mower to a real mower, you want to start off on that solid roller, because you're going to try and train the grass. You're going to bring the height of cut down. And once you get to the point where your lawn is smooth, you're mowing, the lawn is doing well at being cut at lower heights, that is when you want to switch over to that grooved roller. Because the one thing I didn't consider, right? So with a grooved roller, which most greens mowers have, in addition to sinking down in the turf and combing the grass so that it presents like the grass more upright to that bed knife for your cut, it also acts as a dethatcher as well. Because he kind of explained it to me, the way Lee explained it, is that the grooves are actually like crunching down in that thatch layer, because the grooved roller actually makes contact with the soil. And that's a great way to reduce thatch buildup in your lawn by just simply by moving to a grooved roller. I'd never even considered that benefit of it. So, these guys know all about mowers, and they're a really great set of guys. It was an awesome time. And yeah, I hope to go back there again and film some more content. Check out their mowers, do like some more mower comparisons, do some grass comparisons, because they've got El Toro Zoysia, Xeon Zoysia, and then a Tifway 419 and Rye blend in 3 different plots. So you're going to be able to, if you want to like talk about different grass types, I mean, you guys always ask to do some content on Zoysia. So think about it. With them having them right near each other, I'll be able to say, this is one Zoysia, this is another Zoysia, this is Bermuda. This is what they look like at this time of year, which would be incredible. So hopefully they'll allow me to come out and film some footage there and that I can show to you guys. It was a really, really awesome time, and I really appreciate them being so gracious to open up their facility to being filmed. It was pretty awesome. Let's see. LG, thank you so much, sir, for the super chat. I appreciate the support, sir. Thank you so much.
Super chat received.
Thank you so much. A question here we have is from, actually, some of the small lawns. I didn't ask the second part of your question where you said, am I planning to visit golf courses to check out their winter work? That's a good question. I'll see, there are some golf courses nearby me. I'll go by and ask them and see if they'll allow me to come by and look at what they're doing during the wintertime. I mean, it's more of a private facility, so they may or may not want to, like, some of what they're doing, they might not want to share with the general public or to other neighboring golf courses. But that's a good question. I'll go out and I'll ask and see if they'd be willing to do that. That's a great idea. Awesome suggestion. All right. So Robert Raymond says, "Hey Ron, what pre-emergent do you recommend for Bermuda at this time of year? I am dealing with a weed seed blowing into my backyard from behind my fence." So it depends. So I'll give you my 2 options, and then I will. I'm sure Steve probably has an option here that he would like as well too. So when it comes to pre-emergence, I mean, I like the granular one that's in Weed Stop, the Spectracide Weed Stop. I think it's called Dithapir is how it's pronounced. It's a pretty good pre-emergent. It lasts for 4 to 5 months, assuming you apply it properly and you don't get like a torrential downfall. Right after you put it down, it breaks down and goes in the soil. I think that's a really good pre-emergent. 4 to 5 months. It's really good on Bermuda. If you are a baller and you really want to use like one of the best products you can as far as a pre-emergent, Bayer makes a pre-emergent called Spectacle Flow. It's a really good pre-emergent, and it has a regulation period, or has an effective period of something like 10 months under ideal conditions. So you can put this stuff down literally like once a year. But just know if you put down this stuff, there's not going to be any overseeding. Like overseeding is no go. Like, do not apply that if you're planning to ever do any kind of overseeding to your lawn. But a lot of the lawn care services in this area, like a buddy of mine that owns one, they will put down a barricade in the spring, and they will use like Spectacle Flow in the fall to carry the lawns that they treat through the winter months into the springtime. So because they have that little extra, that longer effectiveness period. So Yeah, those are a couple options. I like the dithopyrilate weed stop, the granular, and if you've got some extra coin and you want to put down something that's a really nice product, the spectacle flow from Bear. Steve, I don't know, what are your thoughts? What do you like as far as pre-emergence?
Yeah, so I'm looking at his question. So you're talking about you have weed seeds blowing from the backyard
Hmm.
behind the fence. Are you sure that they're germinating?
He
They
might
could
not
be
be.
they could be stuff just flying off trees, and those are not going to really germinate. Um, Again, so your need for pre-emergent would be based upon you seeing weed activity in the lawn. So we're talking about Bermuda, and this is what, almost December.
Hmm.
So so everything that is going to germinate for 2020 has likely already germinated. There'll be probably one or two more waves in January of poa, henbit, dead nettle, and all that stuff. But check out these weeds that are blowing in from your backyard. If they're not germinating, don't bother about it. If you already have your pre-emergent down, because remember your prodiamine, if that's what you're using, has an annual limit.
Yep.
So you want to save it for the spring, depending on if you're going to want to block crabgrass or whatever in February, March.
Robert says
Again,
that he does see some weeds coming up, though. I looked there. He just wrote back in. He said he does see some weeds coming in. So it looks like whatever's coming in is beginning to grow in.
so you could do a pre-emergent. Either if you have any prodiamine left over on your rate for the year, you could go with some of that. You could go with what Ron says, prodiamine. No, sorry, dithiopyr, which is the weed stop. And then since you're already seeing stuff coming up, you could put in a post-emergent. And since it's Bermuda, your choices are limitless. You could use 2,4-D, Speed Zone, Dismiss. Any of those would get rid of these winter weeds. So winter weeds are not as strong as summer weeds. So the most of them are going to be broadleaf. So you can smoke them out really easily with most post emergents that
Okay.
are readily available on the market.
Cool. Very, very, very cool. Awesome. Awesome.
Spectacle is good. And if you're really, really feeling rich, you could go spectacle mixed with monument, and you won't see any weeds, and it'll kill everything that's on the turf right now.
Yeah. So there you go. So you got awesome to you, Super J. Thank you so much. Love the live stream. Can we get 2 more hours? I don't know about that, man. You guys will probably get tired of us at then. Let's see. So Moro Marcel asked a really good question. He says, Steve, what's your preventative maintenance against lawn funguses? Like, what do you do to your lawn to keep lawn fungus away?
So I closely watch. So again, I'm in the south, so I'm growing Bermuda. So I closely watch Syngenta's website, and I put in my zip code into their website, and then it tells me all the fungus threats um, in the area. So um, based on that, and then based on changing temperatures, I usually alternate between fungicides from different groups, right? So you always want to alternate between fungicides from different groups because you don't want them to form resistance. So common ones I sometimes use iprodione, I sometimes use propiconazole, azoxystrobin. It just depends on what the threat levels are from the data that Syngenta are constantly showing on their website.
Cool.
I think it's Greencast. You can look at that.
Awesome. Okay. So that's a great tip. Something that you can easily do. So go to Syngenta's website.
Georgia, our main problem in Georgia is dollar spot and brown patch. And if you have a really healthy turf and you're not over fertilizing with nitrogen, funguses won't be
A problem.
a problem. Because I mean, in all honesty, for 2020, I had no fungus, but I applied my preventatives, and I go with a feeding rate that makes sense.
Okay.
Because when
Awesome.
you over fertilize, then the funguses are like, yay,
Let's go.
let's go.
Awesome. All right. So LG says, if I go back to real rollers, take a bag of fertilizer with you, that rye looks a little pale green. Yeah. I mean, actually, I turned them on to Country Club. I showed them, I had a bag of Country Club in the back of the, of my car. So I showed them that. I took a picture of it. So they might be applying that. They might be grabbing a bag of it and putting that down. If not, I can always, I've got plenty of fertilizers. I can probably, that's a good, I actually probably should have left the bag with them. You know what I mean? At least I could have done, right? But yeah, if not, I can next time. That's a good question. That's a good point, LG. Something to take next time I go down there. Bring my broadcast spreader and have some fun putting some fertilizer down. Uh, let's see. Okay, so Pat around the house says he just got a Swardsman. I've used it 3 times so far. I really like it. It made a huge difference in the look of my lawn. Awesome, Pat. I mean, you can't. I mean, tell you, a real mower is literally one of the best investments you can make to your lawn. And I was talking to Lee about this yesterday when I was there visiting. If you think about it, right? A lot of us, like in our live stream tonight, we've spent a lot of time talking about fertilizers, micronutrients, fungicides, insecticides, herbicides, all these different types of things to take care of weeds and to produce and things to produce a healthy lawn. Literally, like the thing that you really have to focus on is one, create good soil. I always say that. Get a soil test done, create good soil, and then just mow a lot. Like the thing you are doing, the thing that's gonna influence the look of your turf more than anything else is frequent mowing. And if you think about that, like the thing that you're doing the most of, you want to make sure you're doing the most correct. So Pat here going out and getting a Swordsman, really worth it. I mean, I know a real mower is not as one, they're expensive, but also like me telling you go out and mow isn't like an answer that most people want. They want to be able to apply a product to the lawn and get a good result. But mowing really is the secret sauce. Once the soil is in decent shape, cut it. I mean, the more you cut it, literally, this is one thing I can guarantee you. I can't guarantee you what fertilizer is going to be best for your lawn, but I can guarantee you this: if you cut your lawn more, it will look better. There's no doubt about that. The more you cut it, the better it's going to look. Absolutely.
And one thing I noticed too when I started real mowing, the funguses like went down drastically because the
Mm,
cut is so clean. It's almost like surgical. So there's no rips and tears for little funguses to start, eating away at the leaf. So the real mower will definitely reduce the amount of, yellowing and fungus problems that you have.
okay. Awesome. So Rayon, so Allett says, Winter says about the Allett mower doesn't have a grooved roller, but it has the brush behind the roller, if I recall correctly. Oh, you know what's funny? I didn't actually go look at the front of that Allett to see if it has a groove roller or not. I'm not sure. The next time I go down there, I'll have to check that out. But if not, I don't know if Sunny Bermuda's on tonight, if he's here. But Sunny Bermuda is a YouTuber that he has an Allett, so we can definitely sell this question. I mean, just go and check out his website his channel, and he has a great unboxing video and lots of footage of the Allett running, and we'll be able to see. I want to say it has a groove robot, maybe not. Maybe you're right. Maybe right about that. Um, yeah, so Robert asked kind of a follow up to our questions we asked about the weeds. He's the one that asked about the weeds, the seeds going into his lawn. What about image? What are your thoughts about image as a
Oh, I
post / pre-emergent?
talked about this earlier.
Yep.
Yes, we're talking about image. So image gets a bad rap for no reason. The reason why image gets a bad rap, like if you go on Home Depot's website, you'll see it's got a lot of bad reviews.
Mm-hmm.
That's because people don't use image right. Image is an awesome product. And it's an awesome product because it works really, really, really well as a pre-emergent. If you use it for winter products, for winter weeds, I mean, it works great as a pre-emergent. So you can apply image before the first frost. Now, image has to be applied on. I think Bermuda can handle image. Cool season turf cannot handle image.
Okay.
You apply it on for winter weeds before the first frost, except wild onion. Okay, wild onion it has to have come up before you apply it. And then in the springtime, you cannot apply image before green up. It'll slow down the green up. So there's a small window of opportunity that you can use image. So especially for nutsedge and dollarweed and wild onion and things like that, image works great. Um, if you get it down at the right time. So like for example, the way like I helped my neighbor, I think we talked about that yesterday, get rid of his nutsedge patch. So what we did was as soon as it started coming up post green up,
Mm-hmm.
put image down to get the bulbs underground, and then halosulfuron or sedge hammer to attack it from the top. So within 1 to 2 seasons of doing that, this third season it didn't come back. Literally the nutsedge patch was gone for good, and I credit Image for doing that by killing the bulbs underground.
So you did a
Now,
combination of sedge hammer for the top growth, and then the image for the bulb, and that's what totally eliminated the nut sedge.
it out. And what happened was with the image, it had to get watered in. So it's applied and then
Hmm.
it gets watered in. And once it gets watered in, it works from the bottom up. And it does an awesome job. It takes long. So if you use it for POA, for example, it'll take about 3 to 5 weeks, whereas like Monument will take like a week, but the stuff will eventually yellow out and die. The problem a lot of people have with images, they apply it over the top, and then 4 or 5 days later they see nothing, and then they're like, oh, this product sucks. No, image has to be watered in, and it has a window of opportunity. And for the winter, it's right before the first frost, before all your winter weeds come up, except wild onion and wild garlic. Those you have to have the weed up already before you use it.
Gotcha. Awesome, guys. So there you go. So that's a good tip. I learned something new tonight too, as far as like the secret sauce, the recipe for eliminating um nutsedge permanently. Because I've always used image, but I've never thought of using some you said speed zone or what did you say uses a topper?
Sedgehammer.
Sedgehammer, sorry. I've heard of using image, but I've never thought of using Sedgehammer and image together. So that's a great question. I'm not sure if Cheryl, if you're still on, I know you're working with you're dealing with a nutsedge outbreak, and we got you some Sedgehammer. But if you can add some image to that, so kind of what Steve is saying, so adding some image and Sedgehammer, and that way we can really eliminate those. I mean, hopefully for next season. So it's a
If you're gonna use the image that's at Home Depot, the
Mhm.
concentrated one, you need to be very careful with reading the label, because it has to go down with a little bit more water than usual, obviously because it has to be watered in. But one way to avoid that is just look at the forecast and see when some rainfall is coming within 2 or 3 days.
sure.
Spray it down so it marinates on top of the nutsedge, and then it'll get watered in 2 or 3 days later, and it'll smoke the bulb from underneath. It's a freaking awesome product, man, and it gets a bad rap for no reason. It has always worked for me. And what I do now in the spring for crabgrass is I use dithiopyr, because usually my prodiamine quota is over for the year. So in the spring, I use dithiopyr and image together in around March, and any little crabgrass seedlings that have snuck through,
Gone.
smoked in one
Gone.
day, and they're
Nice.
gone. And the dithiopyr prevents any summer weeds from coming up.
Awesome, awesome, good, Cheryl. Good to see that you're still on. I'm glad that it's good, because I know something that you were concerned with. So I know you've already got the Sedgehammer, so some image and image. You can also get that in a hose and sprayer version too. So that might be even easier, because then you don't have to mix it or do anything like that. Literally, you just attach it to your hose and sprayer. Depending, I'm not sure if it's going to work for your lawn, depending on where the nutsedge is. But that's something we can consider too. I know you have a backpack sprayer, but if using the hose and sprayer is a little easier, why not? Why not?
Yeah, it'll kill also some creepers like dichondra, stuff from dichondra family, dollarweed, pennywort, all that stuff. It'll get rid of it.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, guys, we are at the end of our questions for tonight. This is I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that's it. We've got through all of them. And Cheryl is saying that Sedgehammer has made it yellow. So it is one thing. It does take those products do take a while to kill nutsedge. It's not a quick
Yeah, if you
process.
use sedgehammer alone, it'll still come back.
Okay.
You got to get the bulbs.
So Sedgehammer and image. So there you go, Cheryl. You picked a good night to tune in. See, 'cause I have like I'm pointing the wrong way. I have a herbicide research scientist on here with us. So he's he knows a lot about this stuff. So hopefully that's you've got now a recipe that's going to help. And image is not that expensive. You'll be able to find that tomorrow at Home Depot if you want. So
Mm.
very cool. Well, guys,
With
go ahead.
image, please, if you're gonna use image, be careful with the. So what turf does she have? Bermuda.
Zoysia. She's got a Zoysia lawn.
Yeah. Read the label carefully. I'm not 100% sure about image and zoysia, but read the label. If they say you're good, then you're good. But make sure your rate is to the T. Less is always considered more in this situation. Image is a photosynthesis inhibitor, so it is it's extremely toxic to the plant. So if you over apply, it'll smoke your turf.
Gotcha. Okay. So definitely use rate, or even again use the version that goes on your hose end. Just follow the rate. because again, since we're gonna be applying both Sledgehammer and Image, less is more. If anything, go a little lighter than heavier. All right. So we got a question, our last question for the evening from Stan. He says, "Hey Ron, I have a C27 True Cut reel mower. Good choice, awesome mower. I like it. I've had it for 2 years, but my bed knife had never been sharpened since I had it. Do you know of a place I can have it serviced around Columbia, South Carolina?" I don't around Columbia, and unfortunately, Columbia, you're like 3 hours from me. I know a place that around here that does an awesome job. You can take it to Reel Works. I mean, they're one of the biggest as far as like servicing reel mowers in this area. They are like the guys as far as like getting work done on a reel mower. I don't know of anyone in Columbia, but I'm sure there are. Here's what you can do. Call one of the local golf courses and ask them. I doubt they will actually take it on and do it, but they will definitely be able to tell you who in that area does it. Or also look and see who the True Cut dealers are in your area. Anyone that sells the mower is going to be able to tell you, or should be able to tell you, where you can take it to get it sharpened or for maintenance or that kind of thing. So, sorry, I don't have a
So
direct answer for you, but yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I bought the JD in Columbia.
Okay.
Drove up there to get it. So I can email you the guy's contact. He's who sold me the JD.
Okay.
I'm sure because he had a guy servicing it all the time.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, so Stan, so this is my email address. I've got my Halo sign up here. So email me at ron@ron-henry.com. Send me an email there. Once I get the information from SMK from Steve, I will forward that on to you. And see, this is why you join the live stream. You get answers to these kinds of questions. He got his mower out of Columbia, and this all happens to work out. So we'll be able to get you in contact with someone that should be able to point you in the right direction to get your mower taken care of. So just drop me an email here, and I will take care of it, man. Awesome. Can we ask Steve questions via email? I tell you what, I'm not sure if Steve wants to give out his email or get questions via email. But what you can do is drop me, if you want, email me. And then I'll pass them on to him. And if he's fine with the question and is fine with people emailing him, I can just link you guys up. But I don't want to put him on the spot or have him put on his email to get a bunch of questions for people if he doesn't necessarily want to do that. But yeah, email me your questions and I can definitely get them to Steve. And if it's something he wants to talk to you, correspond with you personally on, he can figure something out and you guys can chat. But yeah, we should be able to get your question answered. Just shoot your question to me first, if that works. All right, guys. Well, that is all we have tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. So question for you guys. One last question before we close out tonight. So next week is Thanksgiving. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Do you guys want to have another live stream Friday night, or do you guys want to take the week off? I know everyone's going to be out hanging out with family, friends, probably traveling, doing a little bit of stuff. But you guys let me know what you guys think as far as a live stream next weekend, next Friday. What do you guys think? I'll wait here for a little bit and see what you guys think, and we'll decide together. If it's not next week, what it will be is the next time we have a live stream will be on December 4th. So it just depends on what your guys' thoughts are. And while you guys are deciding what you're thinking about it, be sure to smash that like button. Definitely hit the like button. Sends good vibes to the YouTube algorithm. Lets them know that you guys enjoy the content tonight. While you guys are figuring that out, Steve, thank you so much for being on the live stream, man. I know you're a really busy guy. You coming out and being generous with your time and taking all the questions from the viewers was really great. I think they got a lot out of it. I learned a lot, so I really appreciate it. And definitely, some point, if you are bored and you don't want to and you have a Friday night free, perhaps in the future we can do it again.
I enjoyed it. I had an opportunity to recall some of my old testing knowledge.
Awesome.
From my days testing chemicals.
Awesome.
I had to bring some of that up quickly.
Awesome.
And then, I see somebody here said that the image worked great on their Zoysia and St. Aug. So
there you go.
Small to the Lawn said that. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, thank you again. I appreciate it. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, share. If you guys are not yet a subscriber, probably most people on here are subscribers. You guys are all the diehards. If there's anyone lurking that hasn't written in the comments or anything, and you're considering subscribing, hopefully I've earned your trust where you consider doing that. Guys, so it looks like most people are saying that we will take next week off, and then we'll be back here bright and sharp on the 4th to pick up and yet another live stream. I'll put together a good topic. I've got some good research subjects to go through, and I am looking forward to it. So guys, enjoy next week off. Be safe. Have a great time with your family. It's really important. 2020 has been like a rough year, so definitely take some time off to decompress and enjoy time with your loved ones. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. See you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks.